quite possibly. Thank you. It's pretty close. It's a little side lobe-y looking, but it's clearly in a notch, and these guys are talking. So we'll wait for the next image.
Gentlemen, I will stay here tonight. Thanks, sir. Thank you.
Most of the time it is quickly wrapped around itself, but this is the best gate-to-gate I've seen.
There's a nice free base. Right there where the house is, there's a nice
definitely something on radar.
free base.
Okay, with this, I'm gonna go ahead and fire up camera.
Okay.
Stream on.
Yeah.
Yo, let me go ahead and start the intro when you're ready to go. How long do you need before you're active? Okay, I'm gonna start the intro. I'll let it go about 2 minutes.
Scotty's got his live feed up now.
Okay, so we'll need to monitor that. That's him right here, correct?
No, that's John.
Is it? Okay.
Yep.
So do you know how to find him? Gauge is All right, friends, here we go. We're starting our continuous stream of information with our latest severe weather event. Thunderstorms really gaining intensity and starting to spread in from the west. Let's take a look at what we have so far, getting close to Amarillo. If you've been looking out to the west there, lightning is already getting closer. In fact, we're going to see a lot of that here going into the next couple of hours. But let's get you caught up on the latest watches and warnings we have. We do have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect, and this goes until 11 p.m. I'll show you that here graphically. It's for the eastern part of New Mexico and right down I-40, the counties either side of I-40. That's going to be Oldham and Potter County, and then also Deaf Smith, Randall County, and then we'll also pick up Palmer and Castro County. Out in New Mexico, that's going to be Quay and Curry counties. Again, not a tornado watch. We don't say that tornadoes are completely out of the question, but really the environment is much more conducive, we think, to hail and strong straight line winds. So let's get caught up on the what we have on radar. Most importantly, if we're scanning around, you see the cluster. We've got a big batch coming into the western part of the Texas Panhandle, followed up by a secondary batch out there in New Mexico. And this will all be heading on off to the east. Severe thunderstorm warning now in effect. And that's for the storm coming down I-40. It's right over Adrian right now, down to about Sims. So that's going to be the southern part of Oldham and the northern part of Deaf Smith County. This storm has the potential to produce, say, half-dollar size hail, winds maybe 60, 70 miles per hour. We're seeing some indications on radar of some strong straight line winds as that tracks east down towards I-40. Again, Adrian fully involved right now. You can see that Vega is not too far away. And these storms are moving at a pretty good clip, so if you're in Vega, time to get people sheltered up. Car in the garage, people away from windows, mainly just using common sense to get in out of a severe thunderstorm. We do think that's really going to kick up the straight line winds, so hopefully you've secured all your loose items outdoors so they don't blow away. So this, again, is the first alert night. As we get the team involved, you see a lot of that going on in the background. Of course, Kevin will be on at the 10 o'clock news if you want to watch on TV.
John.
But anytime you want to catch this stream where you're doing it right now, that's going to be places like NewsChannel10.com, Facebook, YouTube, our typical streaming devices. Will have plenty of information. If you look at Channing up there, a lot of lightning and rain. The heaviest part of this baby is staying on down to the south, and zero out just a little bit. Okay, we're just checking in on some of our chase feeds, some of our intercept crews out looking at storms, and we'll be able to, feed back any info we need to from them visually. Now, as we kind of get caught up on this severe storm that's coming down I-40, places that need to be on alert would be Vega. Looking down at Bootleg, Westway, and Hereford right now, looks like that wants to stay just off to your north. However, if it either develops south or starts to shift that direction, we might have more of a hail wind threat heading towards Hereford. I really think out ahead of this, it's going to be places like Wildorado, Dawn, Umbarger, and really looks like a high likelihood now that Amarillo and Canyon are going to be affected by this. I'll zoom out just a little bit, and you can see that, hopefully that the main hail core and the wind threat might stay down to our south. We can't guarantee that, though. So if you're at Amarillo Canyon, it's not an evening that you want to go ahead and turn in for the night, because I think the weather's going to get rough here within the next hour. And we've been recommending folks make sure you have that News Channel 10 First Alert weather app. There's a QR code right there on your screen. People really, really commend us on that feeding app. They really, really rave about the notifications they can get. As well as, just radar information, anything you need to know. Of course, you'll be able to see us on there also. So right now, again, we have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect. As this system really gets cranking, it's going to move off to the east through our area over the next few hours. Once again, it's not a tornado watch. Some rotating storms are not out of the question. In fact, the one we're watching there in the northern part of Deaf Smith County has at least some signs of that. Kevin, you chiming in here?
Yeah, a new bow here is going to be in between Vega and Hereford. That's going to be possibly some 70-mile-an-hour winds as that core comes down. So in between Vega and Hereford
take a
on
look at
385, if you want to prepare for that. It's also been rotating a good bit in here. Each time the rotation has tried to wrap up, it has wrapped in on itself, we call it, so it kind of cuts itself off as far as a tornado activity. But that rotation is probably the best we've seen, and the Weather Service confirms that the core of that storm is in fact rotating. Again, it just sort of keeps wrapping in on itself and cutting off a potential tornado. Doesn't mean there won't be one, but we're all watching that very carefully. But definitely, I think this wind core is going to come down, and the hail's increasing on that one as it passes over 385.
Let me go to a single pane here, and we'll show you what we're talking about as far as this wind. This little bow right here, just to the south of Adrian, that'd be down on 214. Right about in here, that's probably where we're getting a pretty big push of wind. We talked about the 60 to 70 mile an hour threat. That's certainly going to be there. Gabe, you be sure to let me know if you're seeing anything on chat. They're very good. Yeah, so let's say quarter to $half hail and 67 mile an hour winds. Not a good combination, I can tell you that. But right now, the tornado threat appears to be kind of low. Update, Kevin?
If you want to come down to Grady, that line's going to come through, and the wind's increasing there as well. You can see a little bit of a shelf. So there's a wind gust coming there.
Let's go to this. See our towns a little bit better.
Yep.
I say that, and there's Grady. Okay. So looking at that secondary line back behind it, that's where we have the storm out here around Grady, about San Juan on I-40 and approaching Grady. That's another one with that one might have nickel to quarter size hail, but still have that wind threat in there. So I'm going to come back to our, kind of our regular graphics here, back her up just a little bit, and once again kind of remind folks of what we're dealing with on the threat. You know, it's been a crazy storm season, and I don't know how many times we've been on with tornado warnings, and we go wall to wall to let you know about that. That means just we stay on air until that threat is down. We haven't seen that yet, but these are noteworthy storms in that they could still be dangerous and damaging. You know, what does it matter what blows a tree on your house? Was it a tornado or straight line winds? Damage is damage. And we have that kind of capability tonight. We think flash flooding, ton of lightning, as we've seen from some of our tower cams. In fact, I'm going to kind of go back and we'll look at some of these too. Here's the live shot. I think, yeah, loading up from Bushland, and look at that. That's wow. That's that is almost, Kevin, you might want to peek at that. That is almost continuous lightning.
Oh yeah.
Coming down, right.
Yeah, I'll show the lightning display on TV here in a minute. It has really been cooking.
Wow, that's a lot of. Okay, read it off there, Gabe. Don't be bashful.
There is a solid rotating core to this storm.
Okay.
The low level vorticity, along. I was like, what?
Okay,
the
we're.
edge to the storm could potentially cause a brief spin up. Some concerning signatures are there.
Okay.
For a scan.
I get the gist of it there. What we're doing is we're talking about this storm here and looking at the latest info coming out of the National Weather Service. And that's the storm. Once again, Adrian to Sims is the hotbed, but rapidly approaching Vega. And Vega, you know, like I mentioned, it's time to kind of brace for a severe storm. Right over Adrian right now, same kind of weather's coming your way, right down I-40. And by the way, you know, a lot of folks, if you've had plans of late night travel out I-40 to the west towards New Mexico, I'm going to say you nix that now and just do not plan on traveling down I-40, because this is stuff that could come through your windshield or blow you off the road, neither of which would be good. But it's going to be in a couple hours until it's clear out to the west. Once again, Vega, we've got you on standby, and then right down the road there you see Sims. I'm going to include Sims and Walcott in parts of Deaf Smith County. Same situation there with probably some wind-blown hail and just pretty rough stuff right there. And also in time, you know, that's not going to take long as it comes down to the east. Looks like it's coming east, I don't know, about 30 miles per hour. So, you know, won't have to wait long to get that over to Wildorado, Bushland, and Amarillo. In fact, let's do a fan here. Kevin, you say speed on that about 30, you think?
I will check. Give me 1 second. But yes, if you need to do it now.
Okay, just if we use 30 miles per hour.
35.
35, okay, so we might even speed this up a little bit. Let's look at places like Wildorado, 1016. I mean, that's only 25 minutes away. Look at Bushland right at 1030. And then we'll bring that on into the western part of Amarillo by 1045, if it holds that track, and it looks like it will, probably. So the question then becomes, all right, what's the intensity at that time? And, you know, unless we see some weakening, we're going to have a hail threat, a wind threat, and certainly a power outage threat. I mean, my goodness. You saw the lightning there from Bushland, and if you didn't, I'll just take us back there and we'll review that. Severe thunderstorm warnings out, not a tornado. This is looking kind of back to the west from Amarillo and down across the skyline. You see plenty of lightning there. And then taking a look at Bushland, this is just cinematic right here. I mean, that's
2 minutes first weather.
wow, that is a lot of lightning. So just think about all that electricity, all the flashes. Some of those are going to get down to the ground, and if we hit transformers or power lines, I mean, we're going to knock some power out. I would kind of expect that with a electrified storm like that. That's intense and very, very frequent, almost constant lightning coming right down I-40. So there we go. Hey, we got time to kind of prepare for that also for Bushland and Amarillo. If folks have been out on the town or you have friends or loved ones out to dinner, it's time to get home, get in out of that threat, get the cars protected, your pets protected, and you know, be ready to kind of hunker down through a severe storm. No tornadoes yet. We have had some rotations, got to be honest with you. That severe thunderstorm in Oldham and Deaf Smith County certainly definitely has the potential of some rotation. All right, man. Okay, here's radar, and the most intense western part of the Texas Panhandle, just north of Hereford, to just say south of Hartley. That's what's aimed at Amarillo. We got that secondary line from Clayton down to Tucumcari, and all of this is coming to the east. In fact, I'll animate. And it's pretty much a due west to east kind of motion. Strongest storm is the one out in front, and then we have kind of two solid lines back behind. And coming in for a closer look, Adrian still kind of ground zero. If you're at Sims and Walcott, it looks like that hail core and wind blast has probably shifted off to your east. So now it's headed towards Highway 385, and that's going to, of course, include Vega. And then down 385 just to the north of Hereford. So once again, I mean, I'm going to draw a different kind of projection here, if you will. So let's take a look at kind of the squall, the leading edge, and let's bring that out and see where that's going. I'll run into a problem here. Okay, I'll use this right here. Okay, so we say that's coming at about 32 miles per hour. Okay, now we're looking at where that leading edge wind blast and hail core should be at these time periods. Vega, we got you at 9:56. Wildorado, we've got you now at about 10:21. Bushland, 10:36. We're going to watch that coming in on our camera. Ton of lightning right now. We should be able to see the rain and hail pretty vividly and pretty clearly if that's intact coming down I-40. And then places like Bishop Hills and let's say the West Loop out there on Helium, places like Falcon, places like Highland Springs, those areas north and south on Bushland Road. We're probably looking at probably right around 10:30, and then Bishop Hills and the west side of Amarillo more like 10:45. And then we'll just kind of come down to tracking it as it moves through. See what the intensity looks like, see where the trouble spots are, and everything else that goes with a severe thunderstorm. Right now we're not looking at the real strong rotation. I think that's died down just a little bit. So right now the tornado threat, I would say low. It's one of those nights that, you know, anything goes if we get the right kind of inflow. boundary intersection, we could get some little spin-up tornadoes. So we're not saying that's just not going to happen. But I'm also, while we're here, I'm going to zoom out a little bit. We'll look at some other
Dave,
storms in the area. What's up, Kevin?
new warning coming. I-40 Adrian to Bushland. Ping pong balls, 60 mile an hour, and tornado possible tag.
Okay. So there's an update on this. The same storm you're looking at there coming into Vega. So they're going to extend that warning, and we may see up to ping pong ball size hail and winds over 60 miles per hour. So pretty rough storm. Pretty rough storm.
Thank you.
Again, it's moving pretty much due east. Right now, we got that hail core at about starting at the county line. That's Oldham and Duff Smith County line, and kind of pushing almost due east. And that track, that's aimed at least I-40 south at Amarillo and Canyon. Hereford right now, that initial severe storm likely going to stay to your north. Now, I've been rambling here quite a bit. Just want to let you know, Kevin is he's all geared up to do a TV bulletin. He'll start off the 10 o'clock news, and that's coming up here in just a couple of minutes, give you an overview of what's happening, and then he'll be back on from time to time. I will say this, should we get a tornado warning, we'll be right on the air, on TV, and right here from start to finish, so you don't have to worry about missing us anywhere. If we don't have a tornado warning, we'll let Kevin do his thing on TV, then we'll come back to me, check on all the information, and just kind of keep you play-by-play posted while we have this severe threat. If you're just now joining us or waiting on the 10 o'clock news, it's a night here for Amarillo Canyon, Hereford, that if you usually go to bed after the 10 o'clock news, you might want to delay that a little bit, because we're going to have some information for you. We have a potentially dangerous, destructive storm, severe thunderstorm warning. You're going to get a lot of alerts on your phone. Your weather radio is going to go off. You'll probably get other types of alerts on your phone. Just know that we're watching all that. And if there's a tornado threat or something really, really dire, we'll be all over that probably before you get a warning. But when you do get the warning, anytime tonight, be sure to flip us on for the latest. That's what those alerts are for, is to alert you that something's going on, and then you find us and we can just walk you right through the whole event. So that's the ball game. Before we get to Kevin here, I'll zoom out a little bit, and again, we're talking about places in the north. If you're on Dumas, Channing, even Amistad, Hartley, Dalhart, that's just kind of moderate activity coming in. And even that line that just blew through Tucumcari, approaching the state line, not quite as intense. I mean, there's going to be some heavy rain, some strong straight line winds, small hail. That goes down to about Grady, staying north of Clovis. So that warning there in Curry County is for areas north of Clovis. But that's about to head to the state line.
There's that updated warning, too.
I would love to see the warning there, or the storm out ahead, decrease in intensity, but it's not doing that yet. So we're just being completely forthcoming here with you that the storm coming down I-40, Vegas southward, should it hold that intensity, will likely be a pretty significant hail event for part of the metro area, and even down to Canyon. So that's our main concern. Vega and Highway 385. The agricultural interests, farming and ranching down that area, you're going to take a pretty good hit. Fortunately, moving pretty quickly, 35 miles per hour. So, I might do, well, Kevin's standing by, I believe. I'm going to go ahead and punch Kevin up and let him get ready to take this. So Kevin's standing by for his TV cue, starting our 10 o'clock news.
Well, good evening. Pretty much as we figured, some strong and severe thunderstorms moving through the western portions of the Panhandle, and clearly you can see moving on to the east. West central portions of the region, all the counties in pink currently under a severe thunderstorm watch, as opposed to a tornado watch, until 11 o'clock. But let's drill down to the strongest part of this cell here, approaching Vega. In fact, your rain has probably already picked up. Prepare for some hail, though. in spots and mainly south of
Yeah,
town.
dude,
It could be up
push
to
alert.
ping pong ball size hail
Okay,
and
will you
60
push
miles
out
an hour, 60
severe
mile an
storm
hour winds.
expected
It's
in
going to cross
Amarillo
over the
within
next
45
10 to
minutes?
15 minutes over 385. This part should stay north of Hereford, but it is clearly moving eastward and is going to approach Amarillo and Canyon, all of the 27 corridor, and then just north of Amarillo on 287 within the next 30 minutes. We'll continue to keep you updated on this, but once again, severe thunderstorm warning has now been extended into Potter and Randall counties, and that will go until 11 o'clock. 60-mile-an-hour winds possible, ping pong ball size hail possible, and the rainfall rates are extremely heavy, so some nuisance or quick flooding is also possible, again, as this storm approaches Amarillo and Canyon from the west. I'll be back with a full radar update coming up after some news with Greg and Lindsay.
All right, Kevin, thank you. Amanda's facing federal charges after court documents saying that
Okay.
Go to the restroom.
On June 1st, an Amarillo police officer was working at a Greyhound bus
Okay,
station.
we got some news going on, so when they go to stories, I'll talk a little louder. But here's the storm coming down I-40. Severe thunderstorm when it gets right up to about Amarillo. It'll likely be extended, mainly looking at a hail and wind threat at this time. All right, here's the big picture. You got that a notch really in the western part. We haven't had any warnings this year. Hail and high wind. Okay. Checking on some information here. Let's try that.
A fire sparked earlier at the former Logan House building. According to officials, the building has been abandoned for about 8 months.
Thank you.
Scheduled to be demolished
I'm
in a
good,
week.
thank you.
No injuries.
Okay, here's the storm looking from Bush.
Unknown.
Wow.
Pick up and clean up, and many times it's really a project. This time around, the Fuller and Sons crew made their way back to the San Jacinto neighborhood.
Wow. Okay, just went to Greg's story here. I'm just showing you all the lightning coming down, approaching Bushland. It's out around Vega right now.
Katie,
So
would you tell them I'd like to do the T's on the
Amarillo.
wall, please?
Lightning is getting closer. Back her down just a little bit here.
See, it keeps notching. It just keeps doing it.
Yeah, it does. Okay. Okay. Okay, most importantly, we have a severe thunderstorm now Vega to Hereford. If you're in Hereford, probably staying just to your north, but we got a little notch. You see that notch just north of Hereford. I'm going to show you a different radar here. Okay. Okay. One thing we're kind of tracking is this little notch right there. You know, if there were to be any kind of tornadic activity, that's where that would be. And it's pretty much moving east, staying north of Hereford. Kevin?
See some evidence that outflow might be getting out away from it, so that would help.
Yeah, see that right in there.
NewsChannel
Yeah.
10's Paige Stockton joins us to explain the
Stand by, I'll be able to talk a little louder here in just a minute. So.
At the last Amarillo City Council meeting, council approved nearly $3.5 million worth of parking lot projects for 3 parks in Amarillo. John Stiff Memorial Park North and South will be adding in nearly 400 new parking spots, looking at over $1.5 million. Rick Klein Athletic Complex will be adding 450 new spots at around
Let's
$1.8
take a look at this.
million.
Yeah.
City officials say many Amarillo parks were built in the
Man,
60s
that's-
and 60s and did
Yeah,
not
yeah.
anticipate the growth of visitors at the park.
Oh, I hope so.
Due to many enforcement issues in past years with parking that has led to cars being towed or ticketed, the city said this was one of its top priorities.
All right, friends, just an update here while we wait on Kevin to come back on TV. We're in Paige's story right now. It gives me a chance to talk a little bit. Hail and wind south of Vega.
The money for these
That's heading
projects will
towards
come
Amarillo
from
and
the
Canyon,
existing
so.
Parks and Recreation budget that council had previously approved. On top of the new parking lots, Park and
Okay.
Recreation says they have been working on additional lighting and ADA parking, connector roads throughout the park, and more. City officials say this project will take at least 5 months. They will be working with the contractors to try and expedite the projects, and will be focusing on the highest need
Wow.
first, which they say is John Stiff South. Reporting in studio, Paige Stockton, News Channel 10.
Amarillo residents will soon be able to better monitor water use with the City of Amarillo's digital water meter project. The project began in 2023 to allow residents more accurate readings. Assistant City Manager Floyd Hartman says the water meters will also alert residents and the city of unusual water use and can automatically dispatch crews to the area. The meters will send readings to receivers on city water towers, then be sent to a customer portal.
Okay, yeah, update. Severe thunderstorm warning that gets into Potter and Randall County, just west of Amarillo right now. But south of Vega on Highway 385, there could be ping pong ball size hail, winds 60, 70 miles per hour. We're hoping that weakens, but it's staying pretty strong.
By the Texas Water Development Board at $25 million. However, Hartman says they're coming under budget at $23 million with a project completion expected next year.
Teachers from across the Texas Panhandle gathered to help one another hone their skills with special education students. Region 16 hosted its SPED conference every year to bring teachers and professionals together to share and collaborate ways to teach and guide students with unique needs. Just over 170 teachers attended the camp where they were exposed to various forms of interventions and techniques to best support their students' needs.
Update for Vega. Looks like the heavy hail is staying just south of Vega, heading on off to the east-southeast. We'll keep an eye on there, Wildorado, but Dawn, Umbarger, Canyon, and South Amarillo might be in line for that hail.
Teachers in
So.
rural areas who cannot make it to events like this, Region 16 has a dedicated team who will travel to them and help with support one another with one-on-one coaching free of charge. Another positive case of
Okay.
animal cruelty is shocking advocates in Central Texas.
Copperas Cove residents say their community cats are disappearing and later turning up dead in gruesome ways.
Okay, once again here, Kevin will be on with his weather presentation in a few minutes, but just really want to keep people informed play-by-play here as we track this severe storm now south of Vega on Highway 385. Looks like that's staying just to the north of Hereford as far as the hail core is concerned, but rapidly now making beeline towards Dawn and Umbarger. Canyon and Amarillo will just have to follow the trend, see what that strength is when it gets to us. Rain and lightning, pretty much a done deal, but there's a hail core in there, possibly up to, say, quarter, $half ping pong ball size. So that has us concerned. We haven't had any tornado warnings. Occasionally we get a notch or a rotation on radar, but we haven't had any tornado warnings. We have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect. Conditions aren't that great for tight rotations and tornadoes, but it's not completely out of the question either. So we continue to watch that. Severe thunderstorm warning. It's going to be for Oldham, Deaf Smith, parts of Potter and Randall. You see the yellow box there. Officially doesn't quite get into Amarillo, but wouldn't surprise me at all if that gets extended pretty quickly. Yeah. Just checking the latest information on that. No indication yet, but you know, just you can kind of follow the motion there. Put two and two together. If it holds that intensity, we'll have to push that warning a little further off to the east. So if you're in Vega, you're getting heavy rain, you're getting lightning. If you're in Hereford, you're seeing a ton of lightning to your north. You might get clipped by some of the rain later, but the hail spot, the purple, is right over 385, about halfway in between Vega and Hereford, moving, I'd say, east-southeast. That's going to keep that hail core just south of Wildorado, hopefully just south of Bushland. I'd say really it's Umbarger, and then Canyon to Amarillo we'll have to watch here pretty soon. So.
Will we have some severe weather moving into the area, Kevin?
Okay, guys, thanks very much. If you could switch the prompter for me, please. Just want to get you a radar update. We have severe thunderstorm warnings now that include portions of Randall and Potter County. This is the heaviest part of this storm, and a hail core going across 385 right now in between Vega and Hereford. It's going in an east-southeasterly direction, so from Amarillo southward along 27 to Canyon, let's prepare in the next 15 minutes for heavy rain, possible ping-pong ball-size hail, strong gusty winds. Tornado threat is low, but some spin-ups on the leading edge are not out of the question. Severe thunderstorm warning right now. We're keeping an eye on it. I'll come back after the break, give you a full update here at News Channel 10.
So are we still doing Kevin's story?
All right. Thanks, Kevin. Of course, we're going to a commercial break right now. Look at all that lightning. This is at Bushland, and it's knocking on the door. And of course, Amarillo will be next in line, at least to catch some of that storm. Let me show you where the worst part is. And keep in mind, this is a severe thunderstorm watch. It's set to go until 11. Might get extended a little bit. We don't know. But right now, it's a threat for
Okay,
hail and
I'm going to
high
start
wind.
on the wall, please.
A couple of
Katie?
severe thunderstorm warnings. That's the yellow, the golden boxes there. The one
this
that's
is this. Let's
most
blow that up.
intense is the one we've been tracking right
Don't run
down
under
just
the weather.
south of
Tell
I-40.
them not to run under the weather.
So you can see again, Hereford, the rain's trying to build down towards you. Maybe some small hail. I think it's probably going to stay to the north of Hereford. Pretty much crossing
we'll fill it up
385
at the end.
now.
I'll just go.
But
I don't need
rapidly
time cues.
approaching.
I'll go to finish and we'll
let's
make
see,
it up at the other
Wildorado
end.
and
Tell her
and
it's
Bushland,
fine.
if I
I'll go what I need.
come in
We'll make up the
close.
difference
Okay.
at the end of the show.
Let's take a look at this sector here.
I'll go tell
Okay.
Zach.
So now
Okay.
you see Wildorado pretty much on the leading edge. You're getting the wind right now. It'll be followed rapidly by some heavy rain. Just, I mean, an immense amount of lightning. It's just unbelievable how much lightning is there. Bushland, you're already getting all that lightning. That will intensify. The actual leading edge or gust front is now probably 15 minutes away. Amarillo, we're going to be next. Places like Tanglewood, Paladuro Canyon, I mentioned earlier, Falcon, and all of our subdivisions that'll be down there south. You know, places like Sunflower, Strawberry Fields, those areas about to get it. Now Kevin's coming up here really quickly, so he's waiting on a TV queue. Let's go ahead and send it over to him.
Okay, continuing to watch strong and severe thunderstorms approach Amarillo and Canyon from the west. There's the broad view right now. We continue to see the severe thunderstorm watch, all the counties in pink until 11 o'clock. The strongest cell right now is this one, which has prompted a warning that includes parts of Deaf Smith and Oldham County, mainly the eastern parts right now. And then the southwestern and western portion of Potter County, western half almost of Randall County. So this storm, and the strongest part here is this pink area with a new updraft developing just north of Hereford. I think Hereford, you will miss the bulk of this, but let's drill down. It's moving pretty quickly to the east, so from Hereford northeastward all along 60, that would include Dawn and Umbarger, heavy thunderstorm coming your way in the next 5 minutes or less. If you need to get the car in the garage, you got a minute or two to do it, but do not take this one lightly. It's going to give you a strong blast of wind, maybe to 60 miles per hour or higher. Potential for some ping pong ball size hail in isolated spots. Here's the western portion of Randall County right now. So it's coming into close to Canyon within the next 10 to 15 minutes. I-27 westward, same story, next 10 to 15 minutes. I'm hopeful that the core of this, the strongest, will stay south of Amarillo proper and inside the loop, but that potential for some hail is definitely going to exist as it continues to move on to the east. This line of storms is weakening a little bit as it came through Grady. That's good news for places like Bootleg, northward towards Sims. You've had a heavy storm, but that one's coming in. But I think that one's going to continue to weaken a little bit. But Friona and Black, again along 60, northward to Hereford. You're going to miss this one in Hereford, but this one will come, and that's probably still 40, 45 minutes away. But know that that one is coming as well. The lightning output on this is tremendous. If you're looking westward from Amarillo or Canyon, you can look for a minute, but it is going to come down fast and loud. So we'd love for you to stay inside and not be subject to that storm that's approaching again from the west. Here's the look from the Bushland Tower cam. And again, the lightning has been continuous. That's what's being reported from all the chasers as well. So it is putting on a pretty good show, indicating that this storm definitely means business. We're going to go into first alert mode for Thursday and Friday. The storms that we have in the forecast for tomorrow are going to be kind of dependent upon what happens for the rest of the night. There may be a stabilizing effect on the atmosphere from these storms we're experiencing now, but from there, we'll see how the models run, see if we can recover the atmosphere, make it more unstable again by late day tomorrow and on into Thursday. And then those storms will depend or affect what happens on Friday. So again, first alert mode, we want you to stay tapped in, tuned in, and also make sure you have the app on your phone. So for the rest of the night tonight, the southwestern quarter of the region, the areas in yellow with the highest risk for some severe weather. That's the slight risk category. Lesser risk, indicating that we might actually see a little bit of weakening through the eastern and southeastern portions of the region over the next couple of hours, but severe storms are still possible. Right now from the Storm Prediction Center, and this will be updated after midnight tonight, all of our viewing area is included in the slight risk area, and we'll find out, I think, in the early morning hours if they're going to upgrade that to possibly enhanced and what sectors. So please join us rather in the morning for the morning news. We'll give you an update on that. And then right now, depending upon what happens, we will see the same story on Friday. Yes, Dave?
Quarter hail confirmed south of Vega.
South of Vega, quarter-inch hail confirmed at this point in time. So once again, we have that quarter-inch hail with that storm that we just talked about. Here's the computer forecast model going on through the next couple of hours. This is obviously the storm activity that we see right now. It will continue to move eastward. There's some indication that this leading edge of this might weaken a little bit, but here's midnight right here. As it continues to move eastward, we'll see some weakening in the eastern portion of the region, but watch what happens overnight. This is 2 a.m. right here. The model suggesting there's enough energy to create some more scattered thunderstorm activity that will go for the next couple of hours into the wee hours of the morning, rather, on toward daybreak. We do not expect those to be severe, but there'll be some strong gusty winds and possibly a little bit of small hail and some heavy rain to go with that as well. As we go through the rest of the day on Thursday, we'll see how the models go, but tomorrow night we may see yet another round. So let's talk about the 7-day supercast for Thursday and Friday. Right now, both first alert days. 60% rain chance right now across the entire region for scattered showers and storms. That will include into the morning hours, and we'll see what happens in the afternoon and evening. 30% rain chance right now on Friday. That may go up. It's all conditional, so we appreciate you staying with us, of course. Then Saturday, we got a 20% chance for scattered showers, thunder showers. We'll go back up to 40% coming up on Sunday, and then we continue this very unsettled weather pattern. 30% for Monday, for Tuesday, into Wednesday, the middle part of next week, as this unsettled weather pattern continues. I'll be back with a radar update coming up in just a couple of minutes. We're also streaming on all of our platforms. Zach?
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.
Continuing to track this severe storm. We haven't had reports of tornadoes. We have had reports of quarter-sized hail, and probably getting bigger. There's a lot of remote territory down there between Colorado and Lombard and Dawn. But so far, it's been a quarter-sized hail producing storm with a lot of winds. Now into Wilbrego. It's marching on down to the east-southeast. Happy to announce that looks like the hail core is staying a little further south. It might be building a little bit east-southeast. Not that it can't regenerate back to the north, but on this current trend, let's see if I can draw a line for you here. It looks like the hail would be the purple right about in here. That's aimed more like to Dawn, Humbarger, and maybe Canyon. We'll just have to see what it looks like when it gets just a little closer. It is a severe storm. There is a severe thunderstorm warning. And you can see that it's almost to Amarillo, and I do think it'll probably be extended at least down into Randall. Okay. Well,
Okay.
all right. Sorry, guys. I had a mic issue there. Got it taken care of. We are looking at the severe storm. I was tracking the hail on this. Let me do that again. That's the purple. And looks like that is trying to stay down to the south of I-40, and it's going to be more tracking more like this. So that's going to be more like a place like Dawn, Umbarger, over towards Canyon during the next hour. Quarter-size hail so far. It wouldn't surprise me at all to get some ping pong balls or even some $50 of golf balls, at least sporadically in there. Good news for us is that we haven't had real strong rotations here lately. Not that we can't get that, but our watch is for severe thunderstorms, means the potential is much higher for hail and high winds. So we're going to track this as it comes on in across Highway 60 there down to the south. Move that up just a little bit. Okay. There, we got a good track on this severe storm. Amarillo is going to catch some of it. Probably the heavy rain, the intense lightning, which is just, it's amazing. I'm going to show you a tower camera here at probably some of the most spectacular lightning that we've had in a long time. This storm is putting it out. Here's Amarillo, lightning getting closer. I just had a notification on my phone that lightning was closer. But there's Bushland, and the actual rain is just moments away. And the lightning is incredible. So don't be surprised if we get reports of power outages or things being struck by lightning. There's a ton of that. This is why you need folks inside. If you want to get out and look at the storm, kind of do it from your front porch or somewhere where you're covered, because the lightning is one of the deadliest things we're going to face here tonight. There's so much of it. So you just have to treat that with respect. Here's Amarillo again. We'll be watching as that storm gets closer within the next 20 minutes. Severe thunderstorm watch set to go until 11. Looks like a couple of counties were added on to the east. We don't have any tornado warnings. We have 2 severe thunderstorm warnings and a flash flood warning out there in New Mexico. Scanning around here, you can see quite a bit on the plate, but it's that leading storm right there that's the strongest and the one that we're tracking the most carefully. So it's pretty much done its thing at Vega. Wildorado, you'll be involved in some pretty heavy rain for a while. Bushland, they're just getting started. Amarillo, we'll have it within a half hour. But down to the south, that purple, that's where we've been concerned about the hail. Knocking on the door now at Dawn and Umbarger. So if you're at Dawn and Umbarger or South Bushland Road, that's where that hail core will track during the next 20 minutes or so. It's kind of moving east-southeast as far as the hail is concerned. So I'm a little bit less concerned about big hail in Amarillo than I was earlier. Ping pong, okay. All right. As we surmised a minute ago, we're getting reports of larger hail. Some chasers out reporting ping pong ball size. And they said, but kind of mixed in sporadically, every now and then you get a 2 to 2.5 inch stone. So that I think that's still intact as that gets ready to move into Dawn and Umbarger. For Amarillo, get ready for plenty of lightning, plenty of rain. If you're in Canyon, a little early on the call, you're more prone to the hail, I think. And also, if we shift back to the west, that second storm that's coming in, picking up a little bit in intensity there north of Bootleg. Yeah, so we might be back up to some quarter-size hail. That's going to sweep I-40, approach Adrian, Bootleg, and then a better chance of getting into Westway and Hereford. But for the time being, here's the main show, and that's a little uptick on the hail there north of Umbarger. So I'm going to say we might get occasional golf ball to tennis ball in there. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Primarily, I think we'll have ping pong balls heading towards Dawn and Umbarger. And if you're in Canyon, it's starting to look now a little more likely that you're going to catch some of that hail. So, you got time now. Make sure everybody's car's in the garage. Get everybody home from the convenience store or getting gas, whatever people have been doing. If you're a WT, time to hole up, get into your dorms or apartments or whatever as this gets ready to blow through. I don't think it's going to be a tornadic storm. But as we mentioned earlier, you know, that's kind of semantics. If we get straight winds of 60 or 70 and we get damaging hail, bottom line is it's a destructive storm. So that's what we're doing right now. Kevin will be on in a few minutes to give you another TV update. But just know that even when we're off TV, we're going to follow this storm for a while. The threat of severe weather, you know, that watch set to go 11 may be extended. We'll feed information to you as long as there's a major threat. When we go down below severe intensity or we get really sporadic, we'll probably drop off that stream. But just know that we're dedicated as long as we got some major dangers out there to let you know what's going on. If you're in Bushland, looks like the rain pretty much starting to come in. So let's go back and visit our camera there in Bushland. And there's Amarillo and Bushland. Okay, well, lightning certainly getting overhead. Looks like we still have some pretty good visibility. Probably dropping off there, back towards Blesson Road out that way. You kind of see an Arcus there when we get the lightning in the right place. So it's going to feed in there with some pretty gusty winds, followed by all that rain and lightning.
Switch the proper, please. Gotcha.
Okay, looks like Kevin, they're going to adjust the warning. They're taking I-40 out. They're dropping the warning south of I-40, upping that hail core for Dawn and Umbarger to 2 inches. And if you're in Canyon, I think it's looking pretty likely that we're going to get some of that hail down towards Canyon here, about 25 minutes or so. So we got you covered on that. I'm sure a lot of phones are going off, a lot of weather alert radios going off. We'll get a new warning that will activate more. But that's what they're for, is to alert you to tune in for more information. And then that's what we do. We give you all that information so you know exactly what's going on, where the dangerous spots are, where they're headed, and how you need to act. So this is not a situation that I think we need to get people all down in the cellar or anything, but we do need to get folks away from windows and tuned in to the info. We can let you know when you're clear and you get back to thinking about getting a night's sleep. For Amarillo, I think we're on this severe storm anyway. We don't know what's coming in behind it exactly, but I think most of the city is going to get by with heavy rain and a lot of lightning. I just got a notification on my phone that lightning is getting closer. And depending on how much we get, you know, we've had rain recently. It wouldn't take a lot to get some street flooding going. So Kevin's about to come on. How close are we, Gabe?
5.
Okay. Here comes Kevin.
Okay, another radar update and also a severe thunderstorm watch update. It has been pulled or extended a little bit further eastward, so Armstrong and Briscoe counties now included. At this point, it is in effect until 11 o'clock. I have a feeling that some level of this may be extended further eastward and extended past 11 o'clock. But as you can see, we've got a big cluster of showers and thunderstorms, many of them strong, not all of them severe, continuing to move from west to east across the region. So if you've not gotten rain yet, especially from Borger to Pampa to Perryton to Canadian to Shamrock, it is coming, and then all along the Interstate 40 corridor southward. Hit and miss showers and thunder showers will continue for several more hours tonight. Now, there's some suggestion that once they get into the eastern portion of the region, they will start to weaken a little bit. We hope for that, but we're going to continue to watch it. Once the newscast is over, we're continuing our stream on our Facebook page and YouTube and NewsChannel10.com. Dave is here, so we're going to continue to watch these and watch them come through Amarillo and Canyon, which is where the heaviest storms, especially Canyon, are heading right now. Severe thunderstorm warning has been trimmed to be south of Interstate 40, so north of 40, and that would include most of Amarillo Metro or downtown and then northward. Not included in the warning at this point, but still a heavy thunderstorm is coming in your direction. So Canyon, you're going to be under the gun here in the next 5 to 10 minutes. It's coming up Highway 60. There's Hereford right there. Dawn, Umbarger, if you're not getting this heavy rain yet, you will in the next couple of minutes. And I'm seeing what we call a bow echo right here, right on the highway. So south of 60, in between Hereford and Canyon, easily a straight line wind gust to 60 miles per hour as this approaches, and then some potential hail in this core right here, also on the line. That, on the current east-southeastward movement, is going to go right into Canyon and then areas north. So just to get your bearings, there's the Happy State Bank football stadium right there. This is 335, so it looks like the bulk of this hail core will be south of Hollywood Road, all the way down the highway to Canyon, again in the next 5 to 10 minutes. Don't take this with any lightness. It's going to have the potential for ping pong ball size hail, maybe a few hailstones even larger. Again, from Canyon northward in the next 5 to 10 minutes, that is going to come screaming through here. Dawn, you're included. You're probably getting it already. Umbarger, the rain will pick up here in just a minute or two, and then it will continue eastward toward Paladuro Canyon, Lake Tanglewood as well, and again, the Hollywood Road area, especially southward. Looking back to the west, there's a second bowing line or strong wind gust now approaching Bootleg. That's going to come through your area in Bootleg in the next less than 5 minutes. Give it about 5 minutes in Sims, and then this will continue eastward toward Westway and eventually Hereford. Hereford, you missed this one. There's another one coming. It's not severe in the classic sense of 1-inch hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds just yet, but that potential is definitely there, and that will be coming in within the next 20 to 30 minutes. The lightning we've talked about, the output is tremendous. That's going to continue as well, all the way into Amarillo and again southward toward Canyon. Then further northward, obviously, you can see these individual cells are not severe warned, again, in that classic sense, but the thunder and lightning, the heavy rain is going to continue to be a problem. They're moving pretty quickly, so excessive flooding is not likely, but the rainfall rates are tremendous, possibly 1.5 inches to 2 inches per hour. Not suggesting it's going to rain for an entire hour, but that's going to create some runoff problems, especially at night. That's always a problem. We'll give you the standard reminder. Please don't ever, ever, ever go across any roadway that has water rushing across it. You don't know what has happened to that road below if you have any reason to be out. I hope you don't over the next couple of hours tonight. Brief look at the Bushland Tower Cam. Again, that lightning show is just tremendous and closing in on Bushland. But again, Interstate 40 southward looks like the biggest potential, and a better lightning show with a wider view. This is from the Excel building looking, say, southwestward from downtown Amarillo, and clearly a pretty good lightning show there. We're going to continue on the stream. We thank you for staying with us here at News Channel 10, once again on Facebook and YouTube and newschannel10.com.
All right, great job there, Kevin. A lot to cover there, and I'll just kind of pick back up. We want to continue to put information out so you can track along with us, just like we expected you might need to do here tonight. We're going into the first alert zone, and pretty much for technical purposes, we're in first alert now through tomorrow and into Friday. That just means we expect a lot of hazards. This won't be the only round of storms we track over the next couple of days. In fact, we could have a storm in our area somewhere for the next several days. But the bulk of this, I think, event is going to take place over the next couple of hours. We got this leading edge severe storm. But I wanted to show you around the rest of the area that there's plenty going on. So we'll start off in the northern part of the area. If you're up around Dalhart, Hartley, Narragansett to Channing, even over to Dumas, that's just good old rain. A lot of lightning. That goes down to Channing. We picked that up on I-40. Second storm coming in around Adrian.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, that second push is now at Bootleg, and it's racing eastward. So that's not going to take long at all to get to Adrian, Westway, and Hereford. And like Kevin said a moment ago, if you're in Hereford, you missed that first storm, you're not going to miss this one. It's coming right down 1058 from Bootleg. It'll hit Westway and then Hereford. Here's the hail-producing storm that we have now that's really close to Amarillo. This is one that's generating our lightning. It's generating the lightning down at Canyon. Dawn, you're getting it already. We've had reports of larger than 2-inch size hail. Umbarger, you're going to get clobbered with the hail. Kevin, let me get your mic.
Yeah, looking at the chat here, we got a report from the Pantex network that Vega High School did ½ inch of rain in less than 10 minutes.
Okay.
So it's going to come down fast. Again, It's not an extended flooding because they're moving along pretty quickly, but it's going to pile up quickly and run off quickly in those low spots.
Good point, and more rain coming behind it, so we'll have to watch out for that. And really concerned right now, Highway 60, Dawn to Umbarger, and I'll come in for just a little bit closer look on the storm there, and we'll focus on Canyon.
Yeah, and while you're doing that, we might mention, you know, a lot of people have gone to bed. If you're in Canyon, you might want to wake up your neighbors and say, hey, you are 5 to less than 10 minutes away from maybe some ping pong ball size hailstones. You know, we talk about getting the car in the garage. Well, you got a minute to do that. Last image, we see a little reduction in the hail core, which is good news for Canyon, just to the west of town.
Yeah, of course, it's got time to cycle a little bit there, too.
Yep.
But for Amarillo, you know, like I said, most of the city is going to get by, I think, with heavy rain. The northern edge of that hail area might kind of come down Hollywood Road, you know, places like Falcon, south of Bushland, and then heading over towards Highland Springs, and then Grayhawk, and then the extreme southern part of the city. But really, I think it's going to be more like probably sundown, and then further down to the south to McCormick and Rockwell, 2219, and then Kevin's house. Kevin, I'm sure you've noticed that hail core kind of aimed towards.
I'm noticing the decrease a little bit, but I'm also hopeful for my rain gauge.
Okay. Well, that being said, you know, and you know, places like Hunsley Hills down that way, and of course, same area that was hit by the tornado earlier. Those locations are in line for very heavy rain and maybe some hail. Largest hail right now, I would say, would be in the Umbarger area, tracking pretty much east-southeast. So that'll go across Highway 60, Veterans, out towards the landfill, and then into parts of the city. I'll come back out just a little bit because we don't want to fixate on just one storm, even though it's the strongest. Just know that when this first storm passes through, it's going to be followed up, and it's even filling in between. You see that, Kevin? So we got that second line. Look at that fill behind it.
Look at that, yeah.
So we're going to have some prolonged heavy rain potential, it looks like. And Amarillo may be involved in some of that. So, you know, let's add some street flooding onto our concerns. We're not really concerned about tornadoes. You know, a rogue spin up here and there, you know, that could happen. But this is not an environment real conducive to tornadoes, and that's why we have a severe thunderstorm watch. There's some wind.
East of Vega toward Bushland, yeah, that's coming down. That's going to be
okay, we need to
50 plus here.
We need to highlight that.
West of Bushland.
Kevin brings up an important point here that if you want to draw on that, Kevin.
Sure.
So you see that the green spot on the right panel, that's it's velocity. It's the same tool we use to find rotations within storms, but you know, velocity is not just going around in a circle. It's coming at you or going away. And that's that green right there indicates that push of air is coming right down I-40 towards the radar in Amarillo. And what did you query on that?
I haven't, but I will.
We're going to just kind of put an estimate on what kind of wind velocity that is coming down I-40. So
close to 40.
Okay, and you know that
30 plus. It's a little bit aloft.
A little bit aloft, and you know, we would expect some 40-mile-an-hour winds.
There's a 40 pixel there.
40 plus coming down Wildorado, and that would be in line to go into Bushland and Amarillo. I mean, do we ever get a storm around here without wind too? We'll probably have a lot of that. Looks like Amarillo's starting to get some of the sprinkles and some of the lightning.
Yep, that core is still 20 miles west of Amarillo, so I'd expect that it will decrease in speed as it gets closer, but again, west of Amarillo, and especially Bushland, you're going to get a little blast of wind as this approaches. Might even be a little shelf cloud if you see it in the lightning, but we don't encourage people to go out and look necessarily.
No, but we can show you, Kevin. Let's take a look at, here's Amarillo. There's Bushland. Bushland, that shelf probably would have already been overhead, so now we're looking at, tell you what, let's do. Let's pan, we're going to turn Bushland around a little bit so we can see what it looks like back towards Amarillo. Here we go, coming around. Gabe, you got something?
Yeah, I do. Another flood advisory is coming out of Western and Deaf Smith, Southwest Oldham counties.
Okay.
Bootleg got 0.40 in 15 minutes.
Yeah,
okay, there's some of that really heavy rainfall rate. You found the Arcus, Kevin. So it's pretty much moving through Bushland right now.
Yeah.
I'll come off to the east.
If we want to geek out a little bit too, we can talk about this, what looks like a wind core, but It's what we would call kind of dirty looking. That's called side lobe contamination. This is really geeking out, but the radar beam is skimming along the side of these storms, the leading edge of that, and it's making it do kind of funky things, which makes it very difficult to see necessarily any rotation in there. It's not rotation, it's not a tornado, but it is the leading edge. There is a little notch on this thing that could produce a very, very quick spin up, or like a gustnado, which we saw the other day that Sheldon was on near Canadian. Just a little spin up. They're extremely hard to warn for, almost never warned for because they don't persist. But they could go to 60, 70, even an 80-mile-an-hour brief wind, rotating wind on a gustnado. And there's a little bit of a bow echo on this as well right here that indicates now south of 60 and south of Canyon, which is good news for Canyon proper, that we could get a strong wind gust there, again, towards 60 miles per hour. And on this current trajectory, even though it's still probably better than 20 minutes away, if that were to hold together, that might make it toward happy. But I do see a little outflow right there, too, which is good news, that maybe we're hitting a little bit more stable air over I-27. That's the hope. But either way, from Canyon just to the west side of town, southwest side of town, south of town, the hail potential, strong wind potential is definitely there, Dave.
Yeah, and I'll make another prediction, Kevin. I predict that if you went outside and you did look off in the distance to see this storm, you'd see something hanging down, you know, some kind of ragged cloud, and it would have you thinking, wow, are they missing a tornado? And the answer is no. It's very, very common, especially with lightning, backlighting, some scuddy clouds, that you see something that looks like a funnel or a tornado. Happens all the time. We don't have any indications of that happening right now. So there's a live shot from Amarillo. You see that, well, there's your lightning and Arcus getting closer. Severe thunderstorm watch, we're down. We really only have one severe warning right now. It just happens to be the one closest to Amarillo and Canyon. It's pretty much surged across dawn. It's blasting through Umbarger, and it's about to move on down to Canyon pronto. I mean, you got 10 minutes. Some of the rain's starting to spread into Amarillo now. There'll be a lot of lightning. Bushland, you're going to get off pretty easy. It looks like catching some of that maybe 40-mile-an-hour wind, very heavy rain, but that hail core is staying south of Bushland. So it's definitely some good news there. And I'll shift my radar screen a little bit, slide it off a little bit. We'll see who else might be in line. The hail core, okay, we're going to draw it from Umbarger, Buffalo Lake, just south of Umbarger. Buffalo Lake probably catching some hail and wind right now. And then that's going to surge towards places like Canyon. It's going to, hit some of the northern suburbs there of Canyon, Hunsley Hills, other subdivisions right in there. And then Canyon East, also south side of Canyon down towards the high school, and down Highway 87 there. That's where that wind and hail core, it's gotten a little bit smaller, but it's still pretty intense. And that's going to stay south of Amarillo and head towards Canyon. And I know people check in and out to get information. If you're just now finding, or your weather alarm went off, your radio went off, or something popped up on your phone, we don't have a tornado warning. I know it's been kind of an active storm season. We've had the damaging tornado on the north side of Canyon. Kevin, what was that subdivision?
Which one, I'm sorry?
We got hit by the tornado. What was the subdivision?
Yeah, I cannot remember off the top of my head. Just south of the, right at the corner where the Tootin' Totem is at Hunsley Road, north of Hunsley Road.
Yeah, just north of Hunsley.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it.
Well, I'm going to look that up.
Oh, I'll find it, yeah.
Well, my memory is
Yeah,
not as good as it used to be.
you and me both. I got it.
Okay. Anyway, bottom line is we got hail and wind threat now at Umbarger, shifting east towards Canyon. Looks like the hail is going to stay south of Amarillo, probably south of Tanglewood. Thank you again. So it's the I-27, Interstate 60, or not Interstate, but Highway 60 and Interstate 27 intersection there. And down to the south, I think that will catch most of that hail. You get any reports of hail there? Okay. Do Yeah, but just some torrential, copious amounts of rainfall. You know, places Vega, Adrian, Bootleg, you know, getting half an inch in 15 minutes or so. I mean, it's
Madison
really come down.
Park.
Yeah, Madison Park. Okay, Madison Park. I know your anxiety levels got to be high on a night like tonight after what you've been through, the damaging tornado. This is not a similar event. I mean, it's coming right at you, but we're looking at lightning, heavy rain. It might sound pretty crazy when that real heavy rain and wind get together, and you might catch some of the hail. In fact, you probably get some hail. Just know that this is not a rotation on radar. I doubt you'll get that pressure sensation like you did when the tornado hit. But it is a severe storm, and wind damage is possible, hail damage is possible. And we wanted you to know that we're watching it carefully. We don't have a tornado. If you're in Amarillo, we do not have a tornado aimed at the city. We do have a lot of rain and lightning. Kevin, you got some to add?
Yeah, just taking note, Hereford, you've missed it largely. You've probably heard some thunder and lightning, but there's another line coming. It's not severe at this point, but there's probably some pea-sized hail in there. It's about 15 miles to your west, moving eastward at about 30 miles per hour. Adrian, within 5 miles, you're going to get another round with a brief gust of wind. Probably 5 to 10 minutes of a heavy downpour and a few small hailstones, but again, not severe at this point. But definitely heavy rain over what came through within the last hour, hour and a half is going to exacerbate the potential flooding problem, Dave.
Yep, north of I-40, it's just good old heavy rainfall. That's going to take you up to Boys Ranch and Valley de Oro. If you're around Channing, up Highway 54, Narravisa, Middlewater, Dalhart, in and out of some rain. That gets up into the Oklahoma Panhandle, so that's expanded a little bit up towards Boise City and Keys. No warnings up there. You know, they have some lightning to go with moderate to heavy rainfall. Stratford, you're about to get it. But that's just going to be good old rainfall. That also includes places like Dumas, over to Lake Meredith, up to Morse Pringle, Spearman. Eventually, that's heading towards Perryton and Canadian. But hey, rest easy up there. We don't see signs of severe weather. Stinnett, about to get some rain and lightning.
Did we get breaks?
Yeah, he's running them down. It's D-Train.
By far, you can see the intensity pick up there with this cluster. Very heavy rain at Wildorado and Bushland. Hopefully, folks heeded our advice earlier about staying off I-40 for a couple hours, because that's a car wash out there right now. It looks like the hail has moved south, but that's a car wash, a couple of different rounds there. Hereford, okay, it's going to be a matter of time. That's the only severe thunderstorm warning we have. It includes Dawn, it includes Umbarger, although the worst is probably past both of those locations. If you're in Bushland, you're just getting doused now with the rain and the lightning, spreading into Amarillo. So places like Town Lake, Heritage Hills, Greenways, up the loop to I-40, but that will rapidly spread off to the east, and it's going to get places like the Colonies. It's going to get Belmar, Puckett, and then spread east across the entire city really soon. Good news for Amarillo is I don't see a regeneration of the hail core that has pushed down to the southeast.
I do so I got something like that too, Dave.
What you got?
Flood advisory for Potter, Randall, and Carson, and then starting to see
Wow.
some outflow racing out of this is a good sign for becoming less surface-based.
All right.
And we have a small hail report from my wife with the hail core just a few mile or 2, 3 to just to her west.
Okay, what do you got?
So that's Canyon. She says a little small hail, but the core has not reached her yet. So Canyon, you're about to get it within the next 5 minutes. And if not, well, it's maintaining itself for the potential of at least quarter size, I would say.
Yeah, it looks like it's trended down. So earlier we were looking at golf balls, maybe even tennis balls. I'd say it looks better for Canyon right now, but still probably going to get nickel to quarter size hail. Umbarger, looks like the worst is gone. You're going to get more rain. Now that flood advisory that was just passed on to us, that's a big area that hasn't even gotten the rain yet. I mean, some of it that's Potter, Randall, and Carson counties. I mean, so that's in anticipation of a few rounds of very heavy rainfall. So we're about to do a little update for people that are only watching us on TV. About a minute away, Kevin will take that duty. If you're at Lake Tanglewood, Randall High School, I'd say City View, Pheasant Run, those areas, you're about to get some pretty heavy rainfall. I'll also kind of take a little bit better look at Amarillo. We'll come in It looks like it's, okay. Yeah, coming into I-40, about I-40 in Coulter, I-40 in Bell up next, all of southwest Amarillo, Sleepy Hollow, Puckett, those areas starting to get some of the rainfall. Down at Grayhawk, it'd be the heaviest rain there, Highland Springs, coming down off to the east, Trinity Church, Randall High School, those areas. That's where the heaviest rain is going to be, but the hail is staying down to the south, about to move into Canyon. So Kevin's about to get his cue to do his thing. Let's take a look at and hear from him.
3, 2, 1.
Well, good evening. I want to get you a quick update on TV here with the strong thunderstorms moving through the metro area. This thunderstorm cell is coming through. I don't have any monitors anywhere, by the way, Gabe. This thunderstorm cell here is about to come through Canyon in the next, well, less than 5 minutes. In fact, just to the north side of town, we have had new warning, Dave?
No, but that's your radar there.
Okay. New thunderstorm cell coming into Canyon. Again, we've already had some reports from Tracy, my wife, just on the north side of town of a little bit of small hail. But where you see the purple coming in, that is going to be some potential for some larger hail, quarter size or better. And that is, if not in Canyon already, or the west or northwest side, that's just, again, minutes away from coming on through. Then from downtown southward through town, we got a little bit of a hail core there as well. So this is basically going to cross over 60 and 27. There are some signs that it is finally weakening a little bit. Now, this thing has cycled around and strengthened and weakened a couple of times, but I think we might have some good news east of 27, in that we may see some weakening here. But that also means that at this moment and over the next 5 to 10 minutes, it is going to drop some hail on Canyon. So do be prepared for that. It's late. If you want to wake up your neighbors and let them know it's not a tornado activity or situation, but some strong gusty winds and some hail is definitely going to make some noise on the roof. Spanning out or broadening out a little bit for Amarillo proper, it's going to be some heavy rain and some gusty winds approaching, but not severe at this point. The only severe thunderstorm warning is parts of Death Smith, and that's going to be relieved in a minute or two, but then parts of Randall County officially for just a little bit longer until 11 o'clock. Further out, we'll see, let me see if the computer will catch up to me there. Further out, all of the Panhandle will get some shower and thunderstorm activity tonight. Brief heavy downpours, lots of runoff. This is filling in back to the west, so this is going to be steady but not likely severe rain. But the piling up of the water is going to continue for a couple of more hours. So late night, overnight, if you don't have to travel, please don't do that. And it's going to take several more hours into the wee hours of the morning, probably until 2 or 3 o'clock before these start to move on or weaken significantly. So once again, primary threat is going to be for Canyon right now, for some large hail approaching. If it's not already there, it's going to last 5 to 10 minutes and then hopefully weaken as it moves east of I-27. We're streaming right now, Doppler Dave and I, on our platforms, NewsChannel10.com, Facebook, and also YouTube. Please join us there. We'll keep you posted. Thanks for staying with us here at News Channel 10.
Thank you, Kevin. Good update there. I'm going to kind of focus now on the hail just coming into Canyon. And we were hoping that you might be able to miss it, or it was decreasing.
Okay.
Looks like it's trended up a little bit again, coming into Canyon. So we can almost guarantee a hailstorm now for all of the city of Canyon, and that's probably going to get up to about 2219, and that's also going to head off to the east. If you live in Canyon East and then out the highway to Palo Duro Canyon. That's where we have the likelihood of hail. I'm going to go we're about $half size, it looks like. And by the way, you'll get hit by this first severe storm. It'll move out, and then we're going to follow that up with plenty of rain as a couple more cells or lines come in during the next hour or so. Once again, we know a lot of warnings are sounding off, and people are looking for information. No tornadoes that we're dealing with right now. We have really this one main severe storm that's tracking just south of Amarillo. Amarillo is not really involved in the severe warning, but the city of Canyon is, and that's kind of ground zero right now. Coming in out of Umbarger, coming right down Highway 60. It's around the landfill area right there, coming on into Hunsley Hills, coming on into Madison Park, and probably getting right there around Strawberry Fields and Sunflower, those areas, and then tracking on off, heading towards I-27. So places like Rockwell Road, 2219, all of the city of Canyon. Now, you can take the brunt of this one, a $half hail and maybe some 40, 50 mile an hour winds. There's the latest image there. Getting a lot better at Umbarger, getting a lot better at Dawn, but getting worse rapidly now in Canyon. And Gabe, I'm sure you're going to start to get some reports there.
I am.
See what we have.
Increasing over the next few hours. Flash flooding. Threat will be monitored for heavy rain.
Very good. Okay, yeah. And, you know, that's kind of a secondary concern at the moment, but we'll quickly get to it. The hail will blast through. Now, the good thing is that's not going to last long. You might get about 10 minutes of hail, which can be destructive. Make sure you're away from those windows. There's going to be a ton of lightning. Once the hail blasts through, you still got a lot of rain to deal with. And we've had some reports of about a half an inch of rain in just 10 or 15 minutes. Kevin, thoughts? What do you got?
You know, that hail core is over Canyon. One thing
Yeah.
to remember, these radar images come in every couple of minutes. So a radar picture that you're looking at is something that's already happened.
Yeah.
So we're right over Canyon right now.
Yeah.
So anywhere either side of, or actually to the east of 27, there's a couple neighborhoods there and along the road to Paladuro Canyon, and especially south of that road, that's going to be the heaviest. I do think this is really showing some significant signs of weakening right now, as opposed to the cycling that we've seen, which I'm hopeful for, but still some strong gusty winds. But that cycling has been repeated, but I think that is, that may be not it for this storm, but a significant weakening, which of course is good news for
Yeah.
anywhere toward Paladuro Canyon. But the heavy rain threat's going to increase for several more hours
Right,
tonight.
we have a flood advisory already in effect. That means, you know, watch out for the places you know usually flood. Basically, they're going to flood again with this system. One thing we'll need to kind of watch, Kevin, is when that cell gets out to the canyon, sometimes there's a funneling of inflow effect, and it can promote some strengthening or even rotations. We're going to make sure that doesn't happen, but as that moves off to the east, that's something we will definitely watch. Amarillo, good news again. Heavy rain. We'll probably get 2 or 3 different cells blow through, but looks like we're going to miss out on the strongest winds. We're definitely missing out on the larger hail. That's all now down. We're just going to, you know, pretty much highlight Canyon. You're pretty much the ground zero of severe weather right now in the whole area. The strongest storm we have at the moment is coming into Canyon, and we'll be moving east and southeast. It's, you know, going to be pretty rough. I think $half hail, perhaps. The wind, I think, might have trended down a little bit with this one. Hopefully we get that hail in and out as fast as possible. If you're at Lake Tanglewood or Timber Creek or Palisades, I think that hail is just going to be to your south. So good news there. You'll get some very heavy rain, plenty of lightning. But I've mentioned Canyon, and then the subdivision Canyon East out there. That's on the road that goes to Paladuro Canyon. That's going to be kind of the ground zero there. The Allsup's down there where it splits off and heads to Paladuro Canyon. That's probably the hot spot for the largest hail.
Let's call out Bishop Hills. You're going to get a blast of wind, probably 40 miles per hour. It's going to be an initial blast and then just some rain. I'm sorry?
You want to draw on that,
yeah,
Kevin?
sure.
Show
Got it
people.
up.
I got it
Yeah.
pulled up there.
This is this leading edge here of a little gust front. Those are the times when you see shelf cloud. It's just a few miles west of
Okay, where is that?
Bishop Hills. So we are now,
And then P-size.
well, the computer's not cooperating, but let me try that again.
Hearing about P, hail, and Canyon already. It's going to get bigger, I bet. We had some golf balls out at Umbarger.
Yeah, we have a new little wrinkle where it says play control space. I don't, there we go. It's just 5 miles west of Bishop Hills. So we're going to get a nice blast here in the next 3 to 4 or 5 minutes at the outside. Strong gusty winds. Not severe. It's not a severe warned storm, so it doesn't reach that 60-mile-an-hour criteria. A little bit of small hail possible, but definitely not a large hail core.
Yeah.
And then next, obviously, would be Amarillo for some gusty winds.
First round of rain coming into Amarillo, but doesn't look all that bad. Just a good moderate, occasionally heavy rainfall with a lot of lightning. Just know it's not the only cell coming in. We're going to get follow that up with a couple more rounds, it looks like, over the next hour or so. We've had a little southeast push on our hail core, so I'm going to bring our.
Yeah, and while you're doing that, I'll mention Happy. I think that you're going to be lucky and miss this hail core. So Happy I think you're going to be okay. Doesn't mean you won't get some rain later or some thunder
Right.
and lightning, but that strong hail core should stay north of town as it's going through Canyon right now. It looks like it wants to make a liar out of me again and is not necessarily weakening. And there's a new little notch just south of Canyon,
Yeah.
which again is this cycling. They kind of spin.
Right.
And then they wrap on themselves and sort of disrupt the potential for some tornadic activity or leading edge gust front type stuff. But that outflow is not far enough out to choke off the storm. It's enough to continue the lift, and that's why it keeps regenerating and making this new hail, which again is coming through Canyon, unfortunately.
For sure. Okay, now, right now, the hail would be all over Canyon.
Yep.
And then
Northward to the stadium.
I mentioned the Allsups down there, and then heading out, got the Sad Monkey, Mercantile, Sunday Canyon, Dove Rest, out those areas right before you get to Palador Canyon. Need to be on standby. One good note is the musical Texas hasn't begun yet. I think that
Long since over if it
Yeah,
went on, yeah.
I think
But you
the
don't- somewhere you definitely don't want to be.
right. You don't want to be caught outdoors. So good news there. Yeah, again.
We got a Canyon Fire Department report of a windshield broken by a golf ball size hail along Highway 60 between Umbarger and Canyon.
Okay, we were afraid of that. Golf ball coming into Canyon. We had a broken windshield on Highway 60 west of Canyon, and that's happening in Canyon right now. So,
And Shelby reported penny-size hail at her house.
okay. Shelby down there keeping an eye from the Canyon area, penny size. So it's going to be a variety. That's how hail works sometimes. You can have a lot of hailstones about the same size, and then all of a sudden a big chunk gets mixed in there that's larger. So we have had golf balls.
And it looks like we got live from Scotty. He's at the Allsups that you keep mentioning.
Oh, let's.
So
okay.
that may pick up here in a minute. if it
Okay,
hasn't
keep an eye
already.
on that, please, Gabe.
Yes, sir.
When you start to see hail, we're going to look at that. Yeah, he's right where I think the hail should be coming in. Okay, so that's going to be. We're going to go ahead and take it. Okay. Well, took that a little early.
Put
there.
that back up, Gabe. Did he go down?
Yeah, he's reconnecting.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let me know when we get that there. Okay,
Yes, sir.
one of our interceptors is out about where that hail is going to be.
We got him now. It's
Okay,
coming down.
okay, we're going to take
Oh,
that.
there he is. Okay.
Okay. This is from Scotty Vanderford. This is hail. It's the he's in the Allsups parking lot under an awning, I'm sure, and of course that's just on the southeast side of Canyon. It's the intersection of I-27 and of course our road that goes out to Paladura Canyon. So quite a bit of hail. The size isn't all that big. Like I said, though, it's real easy to have small hail and then some larger chunks mixed in.
Yeah,
so,
he's going to be approaching covering the ground there in a minute.
yeah, that's another issue that we'll have to watch. Accumulating hail is a hazard in itself. So you can see, just so for our stream, we'll go to single, because what we have up here, you got the feed from Scotty. You can see the radar down there. I'm gonna come in a little closer. Okay, so you're looking at Canyon is right in the middle of the purple. And if you can see that, I'll show you where the Allsups is. It's right here. I'll draw an arrow up to it. So that's what we can see. Okay. I was saying, Kevin, I thought they are all about dime size. Those, ooh, look at the bouncer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is live from Canyon. And let's see.
That's the Allsups on.
That's not the Allsups.
Yeah, that's the main. That's downtown. That's just south of.
Okay, I'm
on
corrected.
23rd. On 23rd. Yeah.
I'm corrected. Okay, that's.
That's right next to Ace Hardware.
Okay, yeah, near Ace Hardware, downtown Canyon, basically.
Yep, south side of town.
We got an inch of hail in Canyon Junior High, by Junior High.
1 inch size or 1 inch deep? Was
1
this
inch
it?
deep.
Okay, yeah. It's accumulating, so over the junior high, that's back on the west side of town. Got some accumulating hail there. So there we go, Canyon, that's what you're getting. And man, check that out, Kevin, just right there.
Mm-hmm. That's my house.
Yeah, that's.
Or gonna be.
Sorry. Sorry about that. Kevin's a little worried about his property now.
Just got a report from Tracy, big marbles, and very loud in the house.
Big marbles. Okay, so I know it's, this, hate to use the word rattled, I mean, pun intended. That's what's happened in Canyon, getting rattled by a hailstorm. Looks like the largest hail is going to be along Highway 60 and north of there. So Hunsley Hills, Madison Park, those areas probably going to get the largest hail. Amarillo's missing this. This is a live feed we have from Scotty Vanderford, or one of our interceptors out.
Yeah.
And thank you, Scotty, for getting out in this stuff. I know he's, hopefully he's protected. Look at that lightning and look at the wind. That's, some wind-blown hail. And, it's hard to, oh, wow, it's big splashes now. Look at that, Kevin.
Yeah. He's at 23rd and 9th.
Okay, 23rd and 9th.
Mm-hmm.
No tornadoes. It's not a tornadic storm, but as we've been mentioning, you still have big problems without tornadoes.
Yep. He's at the Allsops right across from First United Bank.
Okay, at the Allsops across from First United Bank. Okay, and getting that kind of hail, big splashes. Okay.
No.
No, sir, we don't need that one.
Okay, so once again, if you're tracking along with us, down to one severe storm right now. Although that one back at Hereford, hang on. Just looking at a close-up that, wow, Scotty's getting pounded down there. I'm going to say those are $50, wouldn't you say, Kevin?
Certainly close.
Yeah.
Definitely quarters.
And definitely something that can do damage, especially when they're getting blown.
Right. So
But,
east of town now is the next one in line. And that hail core made a liar out of me. It's expanded again.
Okay, Scotty's holding one there. That looks like quarter size, quarter to $50. Now, so all of Canyon, it has built north just a little bit.
Yep.
That's going to be up towards Rockwell.
Yep.
Rockwell Road, Madison Park, those areas. Rockwell and McCormick, you're going to be on the edge of some of that hail. Canyon East, I mentioned, you're probably getting into it
Yeah.
right now.
I was going to say anywhere north of Happy, south of, well, near and just near the football stadium, east of 27.
Right.
It's coming into you in the next couple of minutes. We've got confirmed, what'd you say, quarters from Scotty?
Yeah,
and
definitely quarter, and maybe
large
some
marbles
$50
from
in there.
Tracy.
There's-
So.
It's just getting pounded there. Okay, Scotty's, and he is correctly under that awning. He's got another one. Scotty, tilt that. We can't see quite his whole hand.
Yeah.
His fingers are
There he
wet.
goes.
Okay, there. All right, I'll go half dollar
Yeah,
on
that's
that.
easy.
Okay, $50 hail now in Central Canyon. Hang in there. 5 minutes, guys, on the hail, and we'll start to move it off to the east. So now it's Canyon East, Southeast Park, WT Campus catching all that right now. And then Canyon High School catching that. And that'll be moving on off to the east. About to move on over to I-27. So Cemetery Road out that way will start to get some of that hail. Looks like
Hunsley,
it's
yeah, west of east of 27 along Hunsley.
right now. Yeah, between old 87 and 27, catching quite a bit of that. Hunsley Hills getting pounded right now, as well as most of Canyon. Yeah, and I'm also assuming Kevin, you've seen that construction area just north of Canyon that really fills up with water. I imagine that's going to be a lake.
Yeah, I have to go through that, and I will not want to tonight.
That's wow. Look at all there's pretty good water buildup too with that hail.
Dave, they're trimming the warning of taking umbarger out of it, keeping the golf ball size hail at 60 mile an hour.
Okay. Umbarger, you've survived it.
But let's come back to Hereford, because you're about to get a brief little hail core. coming from
Okay, I'll tell you
Hereford.
what. Watch the bottom left of your screen, because I don't want to get off of Scotty's hail video there. That's really spectacular. But you can see this next purple line, and I'll zoom in a little bit. Okay, Kevin, you're saying
Let me do a little measurement here. Yeah,
Here's Hereford.
That's going to be within minutes. Downtown Hereford westward. That's 5 miles west of town now.
Okay.
So in the next 5 minutes, it's not particularly wide, but it is going to be a brief little blast of easily pea-size hail, but maybe some dimes and nickels. But that's in Hereford, so that's going to last in about 5 to 10 minutes. It's going to last about 5 minutes, and then it'll go back to just some heavy rain there. So either side of Hereford, that's a long area. Either side of Hereford, both north and south of town, and then on 60, and then that would eventually put Dawn and Umbarger in line for another little shot of some hail, Dave.
Okay, and look at that rain now. I think the heaviest hail is done.
Yep.
But man, that is torrential. So Canyon, you're gonna have to watch out for the streets just filling up with water. And let's take a look at this shot here. We've been kind of, out wide. Here we go, taking a look at both storms that we're talking about. So Canyon heading out towards Canyon East and Paladero Canyon, severe storm for up to $50 hail. The Weather Service mentioned they're dropping the possibility of tornado out of that, so that's good. Hereford, you're going to catch another line. You can see it right there on 385 that might have, I'm going to say maybe nickel to quarter size hail and torrential rainfall. For Amarillo, getting by with just heavy rain right now, and that's mainly in the southern side of town. There is more coming in, it looks like. But I want to come back out and get an update here from our interceptor,
That's my
Scotty.
front porch.
Okay.
So it collected in the planter and has piled up on the grass.
Okay, a lot of accumulating small hail in parts of Canyon right now, but man, also torrential rainfall. I mean, we're close to some street flooding right there in Canyon that we can see from Scotty. Here it is on radar. Again,
And confirming what Scotty was showing, Tracy has just reported that it's rained now too, and so the hail has moved east of Canyon and now moving. It's about to move east of 27 in the next 5 to 10 minutes, so that's going a little bit of a northeastward component. Timber Creek, Lake Tanglewood, Timber Creek Canyon, you may get clipped with some hail here in the next 5 to 10 minutes as well.
yeah, so we're seeing this, and it's started to kind of push like this.
Yep.
So if you look at the radar on the bottom part of the screen there, again, this is Canyon. Sometimes it's hard to see. Amarillo's up here. We missed the hail. Good stuff there. But that's a sizable hail core that doesn't want to give up the ghost.
Yep.
And it's hanging in there, heading out.
And this runoff's going to be a problem for a couple more hours in a lot of places.
Indeed.
And for Canyon, the rain may let up a little bit here in the next couple of minutes, but there's that second wave coming, which is going to be heavy rain on saturated ground. So obviously, if you don't have to travel, let's not do that. But the standard warning about, in fact, we showed some TV on TV at 6 o'clock in Kansas, Wichita, Kansas. I'm trying to remember the number. I think they had close to 20 different, the firefighters there, Wichita, Kansas, had 20 different high water rescues from heavy rain. But those are people in many cases, and this was the video that we had, who thought, oh, I can get through that, and then didn't. And then you're in big trouble. So
you don't get a second chance.
yeah, a reminder there. Pardon me.
Okay, looks like Scotty's going to hightail it or dry off his car. It looks like he might have had a window down. I don't know. So here we go back to radar. And it's been a while since I zoomed out a little bit. And just looking at cameras in Amarillo, just as we expected, rain and lightning. But let's take a look as we pull out a little bit. And here's the latest trend. Again, the northern stuff, I mean, if you're north of I-40, that's all just good soaking rain. Good, steady, slow soaking, non-severe rain. A lot of lightning in there, so power outages can still be a problem. But that's just, soaking rain. That's the good stuff up there.
Yeah.
It's south of I-40 where you see the intensities pick up. Now that's, kind of teasing Clovis. We have a moderate storm, fairly heavy, that's cruising between Clovis and Grady. That's heading off to the east. But we track that off into the Texas Panhandle and South Plains. We got heavy rain now coming into Friona and Bootleg. That's non-severe. That's just a good downpour. But once we get into Hereford, that second line has made it in there. So closing in a little bit. Hereford, you're probably going to get some small hail. By small, I mean dime nickel size, looks like. That's also trying to build down towards Dimmitt. But right now it's Highway 385, Hereford, that's catching most of that.
That was near Feldman's.
Okay. Just looking at a picture from Kevin of a good, that's even bigger than $half. That's about a golf ball.
Yep.
Looks like at Feldman's in Canyon right there.
And it's over
in the
there now.
United.
That's already happened.
It's passed on through, but that's what we got. Okay, Hereford, picking up that heavy rainfall. That's extending up to Summerfield and Black on 287. I'm sorry, on Highway 60. Highway 60. Dawn, you're getting your second round. Umbarger, your second round. Flooding. You're not going to get the hail like you did earlier, but the rain's going to be heavy, and you have to watch out for flooding. Look at this. Canyon, you're not going to get much of a breather. Now, the hail has shot off to the east, and that's heading out now, really rapidly approaching the Sad Monkey Mercantile, Sunday Canyon, and then the Paladuro Canyon State Park. Looks like the northern edge of that hail core is just going to brush places like Lake Tanglewood, Palisades, Timber Creek Canyon, also Richland Acres in there.
Right on the highway, 217, we got a 72 DBZ.
Okay,
so
that'll be some of that golf ball stuff.
that'll verify the golf
And
ball
bigger,
easy,
maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna, let's fine tune that. Okay, looking at this, wow. Okay, Canyon, looking better. The hail's gone. Now you got to watch out for going underwater because you're gonna get more torrential rainfall. But that hail is shooting out right down the Park Road, 217, and that's going to slam into the state park really quickly. I mentioned just some landmarks you probably know: Dove's Rest, Sad Monkey Mercantile.
Yeah, this cell has made a liar out of me several times.
It's hanging in there, and you know.
So let's start to talk about the effect of 287. It's still an hour, well, 45 minutes to an hour away, but if it continues to hold together, now we're talking about Claude to Clarendon, the 287 corridor, that it would approach there. But again, just a heads up, anybody along 287 from Claude, again through Clarendon, you may have this approaching, but it is going to be some time. But this thing has held together and and resisted the weakening it has shown several times.
Yeah, and now, Kevin, I mentioned, sometimes the Paladuro Canyon has an impact on storms.
Yep.
And we'll see if that happens.
Yep. And then watching, it looks like Hereford has missed the, if you're getting some hail in Hereford right now, that's going to last just a couple more minutes, but you missed the core. That said, that is going to hold together, I'm completely certain, toward Happy. That's still better than, close to, but better than probably 30 minutes away. But we had mentioned a few minutes ago in Happy that you were going to miss that cell that was going through Canyon, which you have, but there is some rain coming, and if that hail core wants to hold together there, there's nothing stopping it. There's some good inflow and some lift.
Correct.
So Happy, you just want to have heads up there because that's coming your way.
There we go. You can see it, got it on screen. Yeah, it looks like we're probably looking at some quarter-size hail or less south of Hereford, down Highway 385, down towards Easter. For Amarillo, just want to keep everybody updated. I'll zoom out a little bit, and we missed the severe storm down to our south. There's still plenty of rain coming our way from the west. We're just not catching the heavy loads, you mentioned that boundary earlier, Kevin, from Amarillo out to Vega. I don't know if that's playing a role there with,
Oh yeah, good point.
moderate rain north and heavy south.
Yeah, clearly more unstable south of there.
Update for Canyon, the worst is over. So whatever damage you took from the hail is probably all you're going to get. Look how quickly that's shooting out towards Paladuro Canyon.
Really is.
I mean, that is blasting out there. And that bow shape indicates some strong wind. You want to check on that, Kevin, the velocity?
Yes, and then we'll prepare to mention Dimmitt and Bovina as well, but let's go in and...
Okay, so we're going to this radar product, and that purple's all long gone from Canyon. It's hauling off to the east. And Timber Creek, I think you'll miss out on that. But
Not too bad on that bow.
Okay. It looked like we might be getting some stronger wind in that.
Yeah,
but
still
maybe.
30 to 40 is nothing to sneeze at. That'll get your attention, but not approaching severe in that little bow there.
Yeah.
Dave, they're going to go ahead and issue a warning on Hereford.
Okay.
For 1-inch hail and
60 mile an hour winds. Okay. Quick update. Move my radar a little bit. So we've been mentioning Hereford and
Yeah, that's come
Dimmitt.
through there.
So that
So it's gonna
storm,
be east and southeast of Hereford.
That's going to get a warning, Kevin, a severe thunderstorm warning.
Yeah.
And we'll see with that east-southeast.
Yeah, because it's come through Hereford, I think. Does
Yeah.
it say Hereford will be included?
No, I didn't. I just.
I'm sorry.
The storm we have been referencing.
Oh, at
near
Hereford.
Hereford.
I'm sorry.
That's going to generate a warning. And places like Dimmitt and Nazareth now will probably be under the gun for that one. Same story there. You're going to have some hail and then a lot of rain. Friona, that's just moderate rain coming at you. No warning on that storm.
And then we've got Bovina, north of Clovis. Nothing,
okay.
Nothing to suggest that we wouldn't get some hail. That's probably closer to 20 to 30 minutes away, but from Bovina northward. In fact, I'm going to switch radars on that one and go to Cannon.
Very good. Okay, let's see. I forgot to.
Wow, big outflow boundary on that.
Okay, so here's what we got. It's kind of a string of pearls. North of Clovis. Looks like Clovis, you're going to miss on that. Nice outflow boundary that you're showing on that.
Yeah.
Pushing south. Bovina, yeah, the one north of you, not going to be a problem. We'll watch the one out to the west. It's kind of tracking east-northeast. So we'll need to see what happens, especially that outflow pushing south.
Yeah, that's got to be raked over there, but we'll watch it.
Sometimes we get new cells develop on that boundary. And then as we come off to the east, okay, we got hail south of Hereford and a little bit of a bow. It looks like the rain does want to try to move down to Dimmitt. Dimmitt, you're going to get either the first or the second or both of those storms. But it looks like the hail may stay to your north. If it holds that track, our friends in Nazareth need to be on standby. You're on deck for some hail and some wind. And then back to our very severe storm, or the strongest storm with the largest hail. Pretty much coming on into that Mercantile area, Dove Rest, Sunday Canyon, and Paladuro Canyon State Park. For Tanglewood Palisades and Timber Creek Canyon, Don Harrington Campground, Canyon Road, or I'm sorry, Timber Creek Vet area, that looks like you're just on the edge of the hail that's going to stay down to your south. And it is, it's really booking off to the east rapidly. So I don't think it's going to take long to get that across the canyon and kind of get it out into areas that aren't nearly as populated. Got the J.A. Ranch out that way. And like Kevin mentioned, now we're kind of wondering what it's going to do when it gets over to 287. And we'll just have to wait and see.
The hail core is now leaving Canyon, going to remove City of Canyon out of the next update.
Okay, good. Great. Folks in Canyon, you already know the hail has stopped. The first round of rain has stopped. The second one coming in, but you're going to be dropped out of the severe thunderstorm warning. And now it's just going to be more of a flooding issue, I think. I would say, if you were really, really worried about the destructive part of the storm or tonight, you could probably check out for the night. Would you say, Kevin?
Yes, absolutely. There'll be some heavy rain, some runoff.
Okay, let's go ahead and take. We'll get back to Canyon now. Scott Vanderford. Look at this. Look at this water.
Yeah, he's right there next to Monkey Wrench Auto.
Next to Monkey Wrench Auto. Okay, now here we go. Here's the vehicle. Hey, look at this stopping. Oh, I might have just no.
A little signal interruption, but clearly
You
fine.
always want to stop when you see this water covering the roadway.
Yeah, he's just checked in. He's at 5th and 23rd, again, Monkey Wrench.
Okay. So we're rooster tailing some pretty good water there. Oh, that's a DPS.
Yep.
Checking the situation out. But that's not going to get any better, I don't think. You got more rain coming in.
Yes.
That's really going to exacerbate that.
100%.
Yeah, so and there's the flood advisory. You see that? That's the green. You watch the green box there is our flood advisory. Doesn't get Amarillo. It's just around Grayhawk. It's around Highland Springs. It's around just south of Loves. But it does include Dawn, Umbarger Canyon, and then Paladuro Canyon. It's not going to surprise me to get some folks there with 2-3 inches of rain here within just an hour or so. So major concern there. And you can see, oh, you know what? I gotta start doing this better. There's what I was talking about on the flood advisory, the green box. It's hard to see that when I don't have it on screen, but One of these days I'll show you the buttons. What we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 24 buttons ahead of me that I can push to get stuff up. And sometimes I forget to hit a button we call take. I preview, but then I don't hit take. Okay, I'm getting better at directing. But anyway, here's the radar that shows Hereford up Highway 60 to Canyon and Palo Duro Canyon. The green box there is the flood advisory. And when we go back out and show you the video there, that water is getting deeper in Canyon.
And another batch of rain coming.
With more coming, that's right.
With a brief lighter moment, I think this might be a big movement in the rain gauge showdown for me tomorrow, as you and I are about an inch behind Sheldon, but my house has clearly gotten some rain.
Hoping we'd have to bring that into this mix here, but,
well,
but he's right, yeah. I'm sorry.
Umbarger has picked up over an inch of rain in the last hour.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Supports what Kevin says,
Yeah.
so let me
And
pop
it
this
looks
down.
like the wind threat has decreased somewhat.
Yeah.
Now, still, you know, we could get a brief gust that might approach 60 miles per hour, but the primary threat is going to be that hail threat and that hail core that remains, which is right over Palo Duro Canyon right now. So at
Right.
the amphitheater, they're getting some action there. Hail bouncing off the seats. But I'm just stunned at the number of times this thing has cycled tonight.
Yeah.
You get this little notch in there, and then it strengthens a little bit, and it wraps in on itself, and you think, okay, is it going to rotate? And it doesn't. And then it weakens a little bit, and then it comes back. And there's just been nothing to keep that at bay. Oftentimes we talk about inflow into a storm. So when you have some kind of a strong storm and any activity to the south and southeast of it, that would interrupt the fuel, or what we call the inflow, that the storm is feeding on. But there is nothing to the south or southeast of this, and that's one of the reasons that it's had plenty of moisture to work with. It's just sucking in this high dew point, unstable air. And the dew points are higher in the eastern portion of the region. We'll lose some of the dynamics as we get further past midnight tonight, but the moisture is one of them there. And in fact, as you guys are checking that, I'm just gonna, I'll talk until you're ready, but I want to check on the
Kevin, I've got a interesting product
winds.
here.
Yeah, you go for it. I'm gonna check on the bad winds here.
I'm looking at, this is an estimate on radar of how much rain has fallen in 1 hour. Okay, not all day, not since yesterday. And let's take a look at this. When we get to places like Umbarger, our estimate there is like 3 inches. Now remember, this is just kind of a radar estimate, but let's say coming into Canyon, half an inch so far, 1.3 inches just north of Canyon.
The next coming up, 31.
North side of Canyon, yeah, on I-27, already about 1.2 inches of rain.
We're really lucky. The bad winds profile, the
pretty good.
directional shear is huge, speed
nice.
shear marginal.
Right.
But we are, I mean, just wanting to make the point, we have been very lucky with no tornadic activity.
Indeed. So did you see this estimate, Kevin, on rainfall?
I did not.
Most of I-40, from I-40 south to Highway 60, that area has already picked up 1.5 inches to 2 inches of rain in 1 hour.
Easily.
That's in one. If I change this over to, we're going to go now, same area over the last 3 hours. Okay, last 3 hours. Look like it changed all that much. But,
While you're making it, that makes the point of the fast movement of this, and that we've been
Yeah.
lucky. Sometimes these storms will move pretty slowly, and that's where you get that devastating flooding. When you get a slow-moving storm or multiple cells moving over the same area, that's when you really get that problematic flooding.
Correct. Here's our warnings. Hey, that blood red in there is not tornado. That's a flash flood warning. That's the warning I was talking about earlier from Deaf Smith County over to Canyon. That's where we've had a couple of inches rain already. The gold boxes there are our severe thunderstorm warnings. We do have one now for also, it looks like Castro and Swisher counties, Dimmitt, Nazareth, Tulia area. And then the pink area is our severe thunderstorm watch. When was that? It was set to go to 11. We're beyond that. Let's see what we've done. Well, they've just extended it, I guess, because the expire time is 11.
Yeah, let me
but
see what I can find.
still
But
there.
a reminder on this flooding in that darker red polygon there, including Canyon, if you think, oh, the hail is gone and the rain has let up, there's another batch of heavy rain that is going to fall on saturated ground. and then that will just all instantly run off. So anybody who has to travel late night, please do not do that in and around Canyon, because even though the rain has let up, there's another batch coming, and it's going to come down pretty hard and just exacerbate this flooding. And that's where you get to this point where maybe you're moving a little beyond the nuisance flooding, where you say, oh yeah, this place, that place usually floods briefly, but that will be worse in those cases and then extend further out into other places where it maybe doesn't usually flood. Because this is that, I'd say that second batch is a little wider, which means the heavy rain will come down even longer in Canyon.
Yeah.
So we're going to get some additional flooding in and around Canyon.
And here
for sure.
we've got quite a bit of water there already.
Yeah.
Scotty Vanderford, starting to see some wakes out there in that water, so
Yep.
I think that's getting deeper. And
Yeah,
the
he's
second
right there at the dueling T places right there on 23rd.
second batch of rain is just now starting. Okay,
I'll see
there we
about
go.
the
That's
watch.
that other severe thunderstorm warning. Huh? Doesn't look like it popped up, Kevin. I don't know why. It's indicated, but
There have been some communication issues with
Okay.
the Weather Service tonight.
so just know the storm from Dimmitt northward. We have a severe thunderstorm warning on it also. That's going to include Dimmitt, Nazareth, and Tulia. Hail picking up a little bit there. Definitely rain picking up there. Down at Friona and Black, that's just good old moderate rainfall. So we were wondering about that earlier. That's just a downpour. And then the storm coming towards Bovina, okay, it's kind of taking that southeast turn. Staying north of Clovis and Farwell and Texaco. But if you're in Bovina, it looks like some heavy rain, maybe some small hail. You know, I'd say pea to marble kind of stuff coming your way.
Scotty's about to start making his way back toward Amarillo and check out the flooding along the way.
Okay. So, yeah, I'm gonna take Scotty real quickly. So there we are. Okay, that's near campus, 4th and Main there, heading north. See McDonald's. So we're just kind of passing in front of WT on the west side there.
That happened in
Okay.
Umbarger.
All right, yeah, Kevin's showing me a broken windshield, Umbarger, beat up vehicle. Man, that's ugly.
That's easily better than quarters.
Oh.
I mean golf balls.
Yeah,
That's,
yeah.
That's golf balls to ping pong ball size.
Okay.
Just looking at a windshield on what looks like, well, some type of vehicle,
Yeah.
SUV or a truck, but it's got, it's a brief count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, over a dozen impact sites for golf ball size hail
Yeah.
on one windshield, which is only, what, 5 feet across. That's amazing.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. You see the storms that are continuing to track off to the east, southeast. Couple of severe ones. Have the one now, I'm going to say north of Dimmitt, north of Nazareth. That's cruising off to the east. You folks in Dimmitt, I mean, I think you're going to miss on the hail. You'll probably catch that second storm out on Highway 60 around Black. That'll get in there real soon. Hey, so looking at your construction area, Kevin, you'll be driving home sometime tonight.
Yeah, I think I'll not be there.
Okay.
I think that's going to be Sonsi VFW.
Okay, it's looking, you know, it's passable. Doesn't look too bad right now. Okay, coming back to radar. Again, for Amarillo, we'll get some rain. We'll get some lightning.
Yeah.
More coming. If you're in Canyon, the hail is gone. But you can see that second round of rain coming in pretty rapidly. And we've already had some pretty good accumulation of water on the city streets. That Canyon to Umbarger and Dawn, it's mainly a flood threat.
Want to check on Nazareth too. We got another notch, and there is some suggestion that there might be wanting to be some rotation there. We've not seen any tornadoes drop. It's leading edge, but I'm looking at, this is the Lubbock radar. A little different angle, but just want to make the point here that for areas in and around and north of Nazareth, this is about 10 miles to the northwest of you and moving in an east-southeasterly direction. So there is some potential for
Good
some
hail
strong gusty
picking up,
winds.
too.
There's a new velocity product image there, rather,
Yeah.
which suggests less of rotation and straight line winds. But just wanted to make note that Nazareth, and then from there we want to move toward Happy because you're going to get some strong winds too.
Slide up a little bit there, Kevin. Behind that line.
Oh, Friona. Yeah.
Okay, just something to watch. We're just, you know,
Yeah.
surgically
A little
looking at some
swirly.
storms here.
Yeah, now this, I mean, this is not the same by any stretch as the Canyon tornado night, but we mentioned a few minutes ago, we look at something called the VAD winds, velocity azimuth display on radar, and we look for two things: directional shear, meaning wind changing direction with height, and then speed shear. The directional shear is absolutely there to try and create some spin. The speed shear is marginal. So, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, we've been very, very lucky not to have any tornadic activity, but given some of the parameters are there, some of them are missing. So we'll keep an eye on that clearly, but you do want to be prepared for any kind of wind damage. Doesn't matter what kind. If you feel threatened, if you hear it coming, go ahead and get ready to go to that safe place. And there's this severe thunderstorm warning that now includes Happy and Nazareth and Tulia.
Very good. Now I'm going to come up the line just a little bit because Amarillo interests, the rain picking up a little bit.
You want to take?
Oh, yeah. Thank you. See? Did it again. Anyway, rain picking up a little bit in Amarillo. Just want to reassure folks that we're not looking at a severe storm, certainly not a tornadic storm in Amarillo. If the rain or the lightning or some alarm has gotten you up, we're okay. Amarillo's okay. We had a big hailstorm go through Canyon, and they're about to get more heavy rain. In fact, it's coming in right now. We're kind of wondering about flood issue there. There's a flash flood warning there. The hail that we've tracked is now pretty much over the state park area, Paladuro Canyon State Park. This is the storm that broke a lot of windshields, or some windshields, I don't know how many. We did have a couple reports. Umbarger to Canyon was really rough there for a while. Do I need to do that?
I don't know. I was
Okay,
going to
I
ask
think I'm
about
good.
it. You good? Okay. I had to change mine. We're doing technical things, changing batteries in the microphones.
Hail is now pretty much over the state park. I'm sure a lot of campers down there are having a rough night. Man, hate to see that. It looks like the size might have trended down just a little bit. But, you know, this has the history of $50 golf ball size hail doing damage. And, you know, it's RVs, tents, certainly, man, are not places to be when that happens. So,
Yeah.
rough night down there in Paladuro Canyon. Hopefully the Rangers have gotten some word out there. And anyway, we're just kind of pontificating on that. That'll be heading off to the east. You know, it'll cross over the canyon. And then looks like it's going to emerge up on the rim, probably closer to Claude.
And so let's talk forecast for a minute, because we've been saying through the day today that we have the next several days of severe thunderstorm risk. But this is going to be very interesting because this rain shield, and if you pan out a little bit, you can see that all of the panhandle is either gotten rain, getting rain, or will get rain. And that is going to have the effect of stabilizing the atmosphere somewhat for tomorrow. The big question will be, can we destabilize in time to get another round of thunderstorms tomorrow night when another one of these little disturbances comes on through? And there's some question there. It would be better if we did not destabilize once again, but this will absolutely have a destabilizing effect. But it's kind of one of the things that makes the forecast so difficult is the computer forecast models see a particular thing, but until it happens, they don't necessarily know if it did or not and what the effect was. So it may take a couple of hours in the morning for the models to re-grasp what's going on and give us an accurate forecast for what then comes tomorrow night. And at this point, the Storm Prediction Center was suggesting that the threat level for severe weather might be a little bit higher, in that the disturbance causing it may be a little bit more energetic. So we may actually have more energy, but may have less moisture, and all of those things add up to a confusing forecast.
Yeah, it's a jigsaw puzzle.
Yes, exactly right.
And you know, it kind of also depends on how quickly this moves out. I mean, if this goes a couple more hours and then it's gone, we'll have all day to get that, you know, destabilization that Kevin was talking about, which would mean if we get sunshine going and we get our winds to return back out of the south, then we're back at this tomorrow night. If this lingers, you know, well into the morning hours, and cools us off, and we got lingering cloud cover, and the wind is all chaotic, we may not do this. But I will point out, Kevin, that, and you saw some models we had that were showing this pretty clearly, and then coming around tomorrow afternoon and did have some activity. We'll just have to kind of wait and see. Tomorrow morning will be very telling, you know, to see what happened overnight.
Telling and confusing. And then by midday, once the models catch up, because some of them run only twice a day or 4 times a day. Some of them will run every hour.
Yeah.
Others will run 4 times a day. And so it'll take them a while to get a feel for what's going on. The balloon launches that go up in the morning will tell a certain tale. So tomorrow is one of those days where you want to be paying attention and check with us. And we always try and plug the app, of course, which will let you know if there's any new watches, and you can come join us again for yet another round.
Correct. You have some info. Come on, Gabe.
Yeah, yes, sir. I do. I got issuing a new warning for storm eastern Randall County. Hail size keeps getting a ping pong ball size right now.
Okay.
60-mile-an-hour winds.
Okay. New warning coming out for the storm that went through Canyon. It's over the Paladura Canyon and kind of moving east.
Yeah, we got that northeasterly track now.
And you can see the direction that the box is drawn. So we were talking about Claude, and that's going to be included in the warning area. Ping pong ball size hail possible. And what you have on wind, about 60 on the wind? Yeah. Okay. Very heavy rain. It is raining again in Canyon heavily.
And let me reemphasize, we just got a note from Scotty, too. He's heading back north on 27, coming out of Canyon toward Amarillo. He said the highway is clear of flooding, except for what you've mentioned several times, Dave, the construction area. So that construction that goes from just north of Canyon to basically near 335 or Hollywood Road, that's going to, I can speak from experience, and actually frightening experience, that the way they've got this thing torn up, there are a bunch of low spots where that water will literally sit. It's not going to drain off. And I actually hit one of those after the rain was gone going home, and I'm not overemphasizing, I'm probably lucky to be still driving my car, because you hit that and it's like black ice, and you will instantly hydroplane. And fortunately I stayed straight, and it wasn't that wide. But again, the construction area, which we're watching Scotty go through now, he's approaching Sunset and Hollywood Boulevard. But there are pockets there, because it is a construction area, it hasn't been graded yet, that are exceptionally dangerous.
And you know, it'll be a story for another night, but Kevin has a history of like driving into water that we we don't need to go into.
That'll be a story for another night. Not intentionally, but
okay. Here's a feed. Scotty, you saw him down in Canyon with all that hail. That's beautiful video of the hail. Well, it was, I'll just say, good video. If you're down there, it was not beautiful. And then a lot of rain. He's now coming back to Amarillo. Amarillo has not had that amount of rainfall. It is wet. We're getting rain and we're getting lightning, but let me take you to the radar. And man, the storm of the day is that one right there, coming east of Paladura Canyon at a good clip. If you're in Claude, it won't take long to get it over there. If you're in Canyon, you're getting heavy rain again, and maybe some small hail. I mean, it looks like it's picked up a little bit.
Yeah, agreed.
It's not going to be a repeat. And if I slide north a little bit, taking a look at Happy. Okay, there's that second warning from just west of Happy down to Nazareth. There could be some quarters in that, it looks like.
Yeah, and 27 will have a problem in about 20, 25 minutes when that comes by.
That's aimed right at Happy.
Which again is showing some strengthening. These are the little engines that could, for sure, with that hail.
It's definitely the southern part of the area that's taken the beating. North of I-40, and I'll come out again, that's just, I mean, that's what you want to see. Super, just great soaking rain, and they're just gorgeous. Most of our cities north of I-40 are just going to get some really nice non-severe rain. I love that. Yeah,
and we're getting to the point now where we're seeing some more pictures on our internal communication with the National Weather Service. We call it the chat, but 2-inch size hailstones being sent in by folks, measured, and then some even bigger than 2-inch, which is, now we're getting close towards a couple around Umbarger that approached tennis ball size.
Wow, and that probably resulted in some of the windshield shots that you've seen.
Yes,
Yeah.
good point.
Tennis balls there. Okay, Canyon, man, rough night. Fortunately, the big damaging hailstorm is pushed off to the east. It's now pretty well cleared the state park, so that's going to put it out, pretty much rural terrain. So, let's see, South Pullman Road, that gets you down to the rim of the canyon. There's going to be some heavy rain and hail there probably. South Pullman Road, down where we used to have the cowboy breakfast down there. Heavy rain, but that's rapidly shooting off to the east-northeast. So Washburn and Claude, we got to put you on standby. You are in a severe thunderstorm warning for Armstrong and Randall County there. That's going to be in effect for a while. But Canyon, you're getting that second round of very heavy rain now. I can almost guarantee some street flooding there, where we already had water accumulation, and now you're just really getting it.
Yeah, stay where you are anywhere in Canyon.
Yeah, I don't want to be getting out in that stuff. Further south, okay, we got the heaviest part of the rain is pushed well southeast of Hereford and Dawn. Nazareth, you're going to get some of that. Heavy rain, it doesn't look like it'll last very long, just kind of a quick dumping of rain and maybe some small hail. That's going to also envelop Happy down to Tulia within the next 30 minutes. We're watching another little hail core there north of Nazareth. Probably more like quarter-size hail there.
And Scotty's going to end his stream, so we
Okay.
thank him for his effort, especially in Canyon, but just knowing that'll go down here in a minute.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Scotty, for good work out there for tonight. Just a quick update on Amarillo. You know, we've been in and out of some rain, but just not the real heavy, juicy stuff. I got more rain coming down from Wildorado. You know, we'll have pockets of rain. But nothing like Kevin has gotten tonight in his rain gauge. If it's not shattered.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Okay, again, northern part of the area, just beautiful rain.
Do you have that scene in your show there, the current rain gauge totals?
No.
May not be okay. I think you and I were running about an inch behind Sheldon.
Yeah, you might have made some gains
That's
there.
going to change tomorrow.
Okay, got an update here, yes.
Yeah, I got a strong signature for heavy rain plus accumulating hail with the strong storm leaving the eastern Randall County.
Okay, yeah, that's, yeah, you know, a lot of places are going to get the ground covered with hail. I mentioned South Pullman Road down towards the canyon. The state park probably got some of that, but that's now, you know, that's now a 287 issue because, you know, it's aimed right at Claude and won't take long to get out there. So Washburn and then Claude down 207, that'll be coming up pretty quickly. Heaviest rain with the canyon storm now and some small hail is around Canyon East and moving off to the east pretty rapidly. So that's going to be round two coming right down that same park road and back towards the state park. Canyon, once this next round goes through, will really taper down the rainfall rates. Same thing, Dawn and Umbarger, you're already in the process of doing that. Yeah, so hang in there.
And our chaser in also in Canyon, John Doherty, also confirming what we've seen pictures of. Up to 2-inch hail we had. That was the first round that came through. Still heavy rain right now, but he classifies it as horrible flooding, at least 3 inches deep in some spots, and that rain continues. So that current round will last in the metro area, the downtown area. The rain will loosen up here in the next 5 to 10 minutes, but still some light to moderate rain will continue, just exacerbating that flooding problem.
I will point out a little side note here, Kevin, is that even though I didn't get the most rain, I don't think, I did spread fertilizer today. So I'm getting the benefit
and spreading some right now as well, apparently. I'm amazed at, and you're happy once again, if you want to go back to radar scope, once again, the outflow getting way out ahead of the main core, but instead of weakening it, it just continues to provide a new updraft. But look at that spread there. There's clearly a shelf on there, and you'd think that that would try and cut off some of the moisture inflow, but it continues to defy logic. But basically what that means for Happy and then southward along 287 to Tulia is a brief blast of rain and some, maybe a handful of quarter-size hailstones are not out of the question. Probably not for Happy, but dimes and nickels certainly possible, and some pea-size hail.
That's right.
And again, going across the highway.
Severe thunderstorm warning in effect for both of those areas. There's our 2 warnings, actually. Storm racing away from Paladaro Canyon, but towards Claude. And then the storm that went across Hereford. Second round through Canyon is heading off to the east. Still looking at, quarter-size hail and some wind. Nazareth looking pretty good as far as the hail is concerned. I think it's staying north of you, catching a little bit of rain there. Tulia being on standby, There could be a little bit of hail coming your way. Wayside also.
Browser, is that?
Happy about to catch our squall, but that's mainly heavy rain, so I think Happy's going to get by with without too much hail. A lot of water back towards Highway 60. Dawn, Umbarger Canyon, heading out towards Paladaro Canyon.
Yeah. Hail threat is, the wind threat is not particularly strong with those, which is kind of surprising the way they keep coming down.
Kind of interesting on that Paladaro Canyon storm, Kevin. The hail seems to have backed up to the west edge of the cell there. It's kind of neat.
Yeah, you're right. It's just tapping whatever inflow it can. Now, this will be interesting to watch, though, because if you look at the velocity, let's talk about this. Okay, this is right over Paladaro Canyon right now.
Yeah.
But right in here, you see the greens and the reds, what we would want to see. We don't want it, but in order to get strong rotation in the thunderstorm cell is for those areas of red and green to come closer together.
Yeah.
If we loop that, we can see that the brightness is increasing. Now, the possibility of that starting to rotate is definitely there. That has not been the pattern at all for these tonight. They have sort of notched, tried to broadly rotate as opposed to tightly rotating, but that area of bright green is increasing wind speed, and so we watch the trend. And so the next image will come in the next minute or two, and we'll see what that wants to do.
Also, Kevin, that's more really kind of like downburst or macroburst related.
Could be.
Because, this is coming back towards the radar. That's going away. So
Could be.
I bet that storm has dropped its load right there.
Yep. And it might even be a little bitty mini bow, and sometimes on the north side of a bow echo, you can get a little rotation there.
Yeah, comet head kind of. Okay, let's get back here and we'll do a quick tour on radar. Again, for Amarillo, it's just the rain, and not too heavy, really. Just some of the, I got a little, I don't know, I hate to call it a hole, but a little weakness in all of the activity that's kind of protected the city. Canyon's taking the brunt, two big storms right there. But if you're in Canyon, I think we could say now you can rest easy rest of the night here. Watch out for that water accumulation. You want to stay put. Let it drain away, but now you're down to just moderate rainfall that will diminish as this moves on off during the nighttime hours. Pick you up down a little further down to the south. Clovis just didn't want to happen, I guess. Picking up some rain around Farwell and then up Highway 60 to Bovina. That's mainly just heavy rain, non-severe. Friona, I guess got another storm coming your way. Might move down to about Les Buddy, but we're not seeing hail in there, just good downpours. Lightning, Hereford, things are getting better for you. Probably going to rain off and on for a bit. Dimmitt, looks like you caught a little bit of that storm. You'll get more of this next one, but non-severe.
That's about a mile from my house.
Okay, Kevin's admiring some hailstones.
And you had mentioned earlier the Canyon tornado. That's right there. It's Hunsley and Sonsi, or VFW.
Okay,
so
yeah, Hunsley
I'm sure
Hills,
those folks in that neighborhood
Madison Park
were a little
probably
bit on
caught
edge.
some of that.
Yeah, easily nickel to quarter size hail there.
Dave, also, we have a social media report of standing water over the outer lanes of US 87 in Canyon.
Okay, yeah. I think a lot of streets in Canyon are going to be full for a while because even as this heavy core pushes east, there's some moderate rain that'll stay with you for a while. Now we're looking at Happy, Nazareth over to Tulia, that second severe warning. That's going to be kind of robust there. Good downpours, maybe small pocket there north of Nazareth. Might have a little bit of hail there.
Yeah, and our little wind core healthy over the canyon again.
There it goes.
It's largely out and open, but as you said, near the canyon, and of course, Sad Monkey is there. Not a lot of homes there, but that's that latest image. This one's going to do the same thing. It's going to notch and then wrap in on itself.
Yeah.
And not be necessarily a tornado, but we'll certainly watch it.
Tell you what, that heavy rain is rapidly surging up towards Washburn and I-40. At the same time, it's moving towards Claude. This one, Kevin, I know we've anticipated it earlier, but I think that this one might be running out of gas a little bit.
Yeah, I've been made a liar several times on that, but easily from Claude northwestward, it's almost about 10 miles from you. So you've got, 20 minutes before it gets to the 287 corridor, but
the size of the cell is
made
coming
itself
down.
known several times.
Still going to get some good rain at Washburn and Claude too, I think. But that hail area is getting a little bit smaller. Hopefully that's a good trend there. It has passed the canyon. Maybe we are seeing a little decrease. We might be tapping some less unstable air there. What you got there, Gabe?
The severe thunderstorm warning for the southwestern Randall and southeastern Death counties have been canceled.
Okay. Yeah, so the storm that come through Hereford, that second one in Canyon, we're now removing severe for that. Yeah, looking a lot better in Canyon. Just going to rain for a little while. Amarillo, again, just catching a little bit of rain here and there. Not the heavy stuff.
So the rain gauges that we all use hold 10 inches. So I don't think we're there, but it's going to be more than an inch at my house.
Yeah, I think so. Kind of interesting, we're getting a little of new development out near the state line on I-40 in Narravisa. And we'll see that, but...
yeah, and the graph model had that. There was another round. Now, clearly the atmosphere is going to be what we call raked over or stabilized, but don't think necessarily that once the rain ends in your area that it's done. These scattered showers, some rumbles of thunder, but less likely, much, much less likely to be severe, will continue for a couple more hours.
Yeah. Yeah, looking on this wider picture, you can see the storm approaching Claude. Looks like it's trending down. Hopefully we'll continue that. And really looks like we're going to have a dominant bow now, Kevin. The storm that's just gone through Canyon and into Happy right now.
Yeah, and
looks
eventually
like
south to Tulia.
Yeah, that's going to move down towards Tulia. And, it'd be our southern row of counties. Tulia, and then that'll, just anticipating out ahead. I got McKenzie, Wayside, and Silverton. Put you guys on standby. If we hold that intensity, you'll have the strongest part of that bow coming at you within an hour or so anyway. But as the night goes on, things should get better for Amarillo and Canyon, Hereford, Dimmitt. Once, if those heavy severe storms push, south of Tulia, Cress, we'll probably shut her down on our coverage for tonight and wait and see what happens tomorrow. But right now for our friends in the southern part of the area, we'll continue to feed some information and keep you posted on what's happening. Just a real quick recap. We haven't had any tornado warnings tonight for a change.
Thankfully.
That's nice. Yeah, there's been some nights that we thought we wouldn't get tornado warnings, but we did. Not tonight. We have had really pockets of hail and flooding has been the main concern, and places like Umbarger, Canyon have taken the brunt of that. Hail up to tennis ball size around Umbarger. I'd say it got over golf ball size in Canyon, out to the Paladuro Canyon State Park. The remnants of that now approaching Claude. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning out there for Armstrong County, but that storm trending down a little bit. Now we have the larger cell or Boeing short line. It's now moved out of Dimmitt into Happy and coming down to Tulia. If you're at Dimmitt, you're going to get more rain. Bovina catching more rain, but that's below severe limits. So I'd say overall the trend is good. And what we kind of anticipate is staying pretty active across, let's say, Castro, Swisher, Briscoe counties next hour or so. At some point, you know, like our models have indicated, we're going to hit some less unstable air or more stable air off to the east of I-27.
And I'm still watching very closely the velocity product southwest of Claude. The good news is that it is not tightening. We had kind of suggested that these continue to sort of show what we call a notch. They try and rotate in the mid-levels of the storm, and then that weakens, and it is not strengthening at this point. It's still showing some signs of some broad rotation in the storm. We'll keep an eye on it, of course, but I don't think that that one's going to tighten at this point, given the history of what this storm continues to.
And our reflectivity is trending down rapidly there, Kevin. Looks like.
Yeah, still some potential hail for Claude, but that's still probably 20 minutes away.
Yeah.
The rain will pick up, and you'll get a brief blast of some small hail. Well, maybe even some nickels.
Yeah.
Or better.
It does have time to either weaken further or trend back up. So we're not giving Claude a pass. It's just at the moment it looks a little better.
And this is the same cell that started in Adrian.
Yeah.
Actually started over the border into New Mexico.
That's been a hoss. That's
and
right.
has just kind of cycled on the moisture that's out ahead of it.
Man, I tell you what, it's whoever chose, you know, these last couple of days to camp in Paladero Canyon going to rue that decision because it is about to pour in there again after catching accumulating hail, we think, heavy rainfall. And you know what it's like down there, the water crossings, you know, those can get up fast.
Right.
You get that water funneling down the sides of the canyon.
Right.
It can be rough down there, so.
And I think at this point, we probably guarantee that the trails will be closed tomorrow and probably for a couple of days.
I was about to mention that, yeah.
They have an inch in 25 minutes.
Where?
In Paladero.
Okay, how about this? In 25 minutes, it's rained an inch. That was the first storm. Okay, now the second one is coming in, and it looks like it might be half of that. Hard to tell there, but man, that's a lot of water in a short amount of time, and with nowhere to go really, except that one creek bed, and it's going to rise fast.
Yeah.
So like Kevin said, normally when that happens, you know, there's runoff, there's debris, they have to work on the trails. Those will likely be closed tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll check some rainfall totals here on the West Texas Mesonet. The canyon floor is not reporting rain, but the canyon rim so far has had almost an inch. 0.95 in a fairly short period of time, still raining there.
Mercy.
Let's check Hereford, 24-hour, same story, an inch of rain, 24-hour precipitation, 0.97. That's just in the past couple of hours. We can check some other spots, southeast of Amarillo. Okay, here's interesting. So we got nearly an inch in the canyon, but just 7 miles southeast of Amarillo. That would be downtown on the West Texas Mesonet, only under a quarter, 0.22. Wow. So there's 3/4 of an inch difference in the intensity over just really several miles.
Yeah. That's what happens with what we call convection, you know. You win and you lose. You know, and you've probably seen it before where, you know, places catch half an inch of rain and 3 blocks away it sprinkles, you know, just.
Right.
There's cutoffs on these downbursts.
Right.
Range shafts.
Yeah, I'll look for some other totals here because we're kind of getting to that point.
Okay. Oh, look, there's a little development there coming down I-40. Little pickup there, Wildorado. That's going to come into West Amarillo Bushland, it looks like.
Whoa. The Canyon Mesonet site, so that's near downtown, 1.54 measured.
Yeah, that's what we were streaming there from Scotty. I mean, inch and a half of rain, my goodness. And also, I'll point out that even though if you're at Amarillo, you think, well, we just, that was it for the night. Maybe not. We got, you know, I'm seeing a redevelopment of
Okay.
at least moderate rain and storms coming in from the west. So we'll continue at least popcorny stuff behind this, what we call mesoscale system. This
And Umbarger reported easily some 2-inch hailstones, but the rainfall total there is 1.38.
okay, Umbarger 138.
Yep. I'll check some of the other reports around that area. Let's go to Hereford, probably less, just under an inch, 0.97 at Hereford. And all of these are just within, over the period of what time is it now? Really over 2 hours.
Yeah.
So that's that's pretty stout.
That is. We got a surge here, Kevin. Happy to Tulia. Rapidly approaching Tulia with the rain. There's a very small pocket in there. I'd say just west of Tulia that we might have some quarter-size hail, nickel or quarter. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning, again, from Happy down to Tulia, including Nazareth, although the heavy part is passed through there. Back to Dimmitt and Bovina, that's just good rain. Maybe small hail south of Friona, approaching Lasbuddy. Nothing big or damaging, I don't think. But this is pretty much enveloping I-27 from Happy and from 285 that heads out to Wayside, out towards the campgrounds out that way.
Mm-hmm. Another rainfall report, Friona, West Texas Mesonet, 0.56.
Okay.
So we saw really the heavy stuff was just north of Friona.
How's
with
Dimmitt doing?
Still half an inch there. I will look at Dimmitt. Dimmitt did under a quarter, 0.21.
Okay. Still raining there, and a little more coming in too. So but that's not the flooded.
Yeah,
flood type.
Canyon, the big winner tonight.
And they're not through, Kevin. I mean, there's
Right.
more rain coming in.
Yeah, Vega did 0.85.
Okay.
That was earlier, but done, but still some scattered activity still possible. Checking further. We did Dimmitt. Happy's not reported yet. And let's try Bootleg, did 0.73.
Okay.
I don't know that Bootleg was ever even in a warning, was it? May or may not have been, but that's...
They were probably in that
some
first
heavy
one,
rain,
you know?
yeah.
The first one coming down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it did extend down to Bootleg.
And then one last one, ND, New Mexico, West Texas Mesonet, 1.52.
Okay. Some big rains. And looking at the screen there, you can see some moderate rain now filling in on the west side of Amarillo. A little uptick there from Wildorado approaching Bushland, but that's below severe intensity. And I don't even think we'll get flooding for Amarillo. Looking a lot better in Canyon, but unfortunately got more rain coming. Yeah, still downward trending for the storm coming into Claude. This is good news, guys. Claude, it looks like that downward trend is still in progress, so that storm is getting slowly weaker. In fact, the hail potential looks lower now, so that's mainly rain coming into Claude. That's good.
Speaking of Claude, Dave, Claude still has some updrafts, decent amount of updraft.
Okay, yeah. Still a healthy storm. And you see new updrafts there just north of I-40, or the results of it. That's interesting. But I think, I really think that Claude storm is going to drop some pretty heavy rain around Claude, Conway, Washburn, and probably move to that more stable area or less unstable area north of I-40 that we've been
Yeah, and that's been on the trend of the models when we get to the eastern parts of the Panhandle.
Yeah.
It has been continuous or repeatedly suggested that these would start to hit some more stable air and start to weaken.
Right now, the heaviest storm appears to be the one approaching Highway 86, coming out of Nazareth, approaching Tulia. Mainly rain. I think the wind might pick up there a little bit. One small pocket that there could be some dime nickel hail. It does appear to be aimed kind of at Tulia, so we'd like to see that trend down a little bit. Lake McKenzie, another good camping area there. About to take a pretty heavy storm, heavy rain mainly. And then out towards Silverton, we're just going to watch the trend. see if that dies off just a little bit. But that's a small but intense area there, Kevin, back to the west of Tulia. I mean, take a look at this.
Yeah, clearly a tight hail core. Let's drill down and do
Change
some
radars here.
DBZ's measurements here. Oh boy. Yeah, let's first get a distance from Tulia, if the computer will cooperate. Hail core, we are about 7 miles from Tulia. It is developing, it's west-northwest of Tulia. It is developing in a south-southeasterly direction, and we will also switch and do...
We got a DBZ on there?
Yeah, I'm afraid to see that. That's going to be 70 plus. There's 75.
Okay.
Fair amount of moisture, so it isn't necessarily gigantic hail, but there's a couple of 70 plus. So I think more tennis balls there. Just north and west of Tulia.
I hope this trends down. It doesn't have long to do so. It's got, what, 10 minutes?
Oh, and there's a 3-body spike. Ready to geek out again?
Yeah, let's do it. Let me pull that up. Yeah, do some drawing there.
3-body scatter spike. Here's Tulia. This is our hail core. The radar is up here in Amarillo. So the beam comes down and it is bouncing off of the hail and the rain. Some of that energy bounces back to the radar. But some of that energy, believe it or not, is bouncing off of the hail, going down to the ground, bouncing off the ground, back up to the hail and back to the radar site. And it is then creating this little blue spike there. It's called a 3-body scatter spike, meaning that the beam has had to travel farther before it comes back to the radar. And so what that's indicating is not only do we obviously have hail, but it is hail that is likely aloft. And so the signal there is there's a big hail core several thousand feet up that is probably about to start to come down. And you saw the new image come in there.
Yeah.
Still got the 3-body spike, but that increases the potential that that hail core, again, probably some tennis balls or potentially tennis balls, may start to come down out of that storm right over 27, right on top of 27, and on the north side of Tulia.
There's a chance that that might turn east just in time, that it doesn't go right over Tulia. But if you're in Tulia right now, we got to put you on alert that there could be some large hail. It's not a very large area. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, and the 3-body spike is persisting. So once that 3-body spike starts to come down, that's an indication that the hail has come down. But clearly a legitimate warning there. In fact, let's see what the Weather Service has for that. 2-inch hail easily with that storm.
Yeah, and let's see, we may need to get Lubbock. You got Lubbock on chat, or get that? We'll start to listen to them.
I'll check.
Okay. And yeah, Kevin, to just add one little note there on that 3-body thing. Let me pull that back up. So, you know, basically, if I can throw it in a nutshell, is the beam or the signal came back later, so the radar thinks that it's stuff farther away. Okay, but it's all because of hail, the beam bouncing around on other hailstones, sometimes to the ground or whatever, and then finally getting back to the radar site. And because it took longer to do that, all the radar knows is, hey, that's got to be farther away. But that's not really the case. Bottom line for us, all geeking aside, is we think we have some pretty large hail just back to the northwest of Tulia. And we're hoping it does one of two things.
Nothing from Lubbock Weather Service.
We're hoping that one of two things, it either weakens rapidly or turns east rapidly before coming across most of Tulia. And by the way, that's heading out to the lake too, so be on standby.
Yeah, and that said, you know, the core may go right on the north side of Tulia, but some of those larger hailstones, maybe not as many, can easily pop out away from that core. And so even though there might not be a lot of them, there's still the potential in Tulia proper to have some of those heavier, some of those larger ones coming.
Exactly. I saw a study, Kevin, that I worked on a court case one time about hail damage, and there's a study done that showed that, okay, forget about your actual radar echo, hailstones, depending on different motions in the cloud, and it can actually end up 10 kilometers away. You know, so 6 miles away from where that's showing up on your display. So I think, Tully, you're definitely in that zone.
Yeah. And I was on a storm one time that was a tornado, but I was about 4 miles at least east-southeast of the tornado in the clear, but hail started coming in behind me, from behind me, that was nickel size, and that thing was being popped out of the top of the thunderstorm and then looping back around on the inflow and coming back at me from behind me, which was stunningly surprising to me and my car.
I bet. That's a big surprise there. What's our wind looking like there?
Not too bad.
Okay.
You know, I think we're still, you know, you could get a brief gust to 40 plus, but these have not lately been the windiest. They've just been these hail producers. I wanted to say that latest image, the latest image
Kevin,
shows a hail core continuing.
It is. It's, in fact, it picked back up in that last frame, but where it is, the largest hail appears to be, again, give or take a couple miles, but you know where you exit off I-27 on old 87, or where 87 and 27 come together north of Tulia. That's where we could have, it wouldn't surprise me to have some tennis balls in there.
Yeah, so we're 4 miles north of downtown, right at the split where you were talking about. So that picture that you're seeing on radar right now, and we mentioned this a little earlier, that's already happened. So that hail core is over the highway right now. So if you're north of Tulia and haven't gotten the large hail, you will. If you're northeast, it's coming within the next minute or two, and then east-northeast of town, give you 3 to 4 minutes, 5 minutes at the outside.
And even if you don't catch the tennis balls there could be some quarters coming across the city pretty much right now. And then let me back out a little bit so we know who's downstream. So, okay, Lake McKenzie, you're downstream. Silverton, Claytonville, we may have this storm. You know, we don't know if it's going to hold its intensity. The other one that was severe, look at that, Kevin, the one that got up to Claude, done its thing. You know, it's done its thing. So.
Oh yeah, very nice.
Mainly just rain. Claude, Conway, Claude, hey, congrats. That hail dropped off before getting to you. You didn't want to tangle with that stuff.
Nope. And that's actually very good for anybody along Interstate 40 from Groom westward. Yes, there will be some rain, but the large hail indicators, it looks like our monster persistent storm, the original storm, is finally
trailblazers
giving up, which is obviously good.
Okay. Let's see real quick. Let me save this. Let's take a look at, I haven't really visited with either Amarillo or Bushland lately. So raining in Amarillo, but you know, just say light to moderate rainfall, we'll call it. There'll be some lightning, even back towards Bushland. I-40 wet and still raining. Looking at radar, we had that second, coming back to this. That little band that had popped up on I-40, let's check the latest on that. Okay, that's not doing a lot.
But if you want to zoom out and let's talk northern half of the region, the forward motion of this stuff has slowed quite a bit, and it is a very, very broad, moderate plus range shield. So that's a good soaker. But once the ground becomes saturated, now you get back into this kind of nuisance flooding area. And I would say some of that runoff, just after midnight, will persist overnight. So you're going to find these places that are going to be flooded, even north of 40. You'll find some pockets where it's still flooded, and then you get into some of these fields, which a lot of them are not growing yet, and so that's when you get that mud runoff. And that can be a real big surprise and come up very, very quickly. And that stuff, speaking from observational experience of watching other cars go through it, is really, really, really slippery. And so please don't ever try and negotiate any mud the same way you would not, we would ask you not to negotiate any flooded areas.
And there can be a lot of stuff. I've seen like corn stalks and stuff just flowing across the roadway. All right, so again, you got kind of the dichotomy, if you will, with moderate rain, but a lot of it north of I-40, and then heavier rain with the hail potential south of I-40. So the one that's coming into Claude, we've been tracking that carefully. Unless, something unexpected happens, that's going to come through non-severe. Groom, be on standby for some heavy rainfall. Down around Paladura Canyon, we pick up that main surge, main squall, kind of a short line, we might call that. That's now coming into Wayside. So Wayside and, of course, our campgrounds out there, we'll need to watch out for some flooding. The hail right now is coming into Tulia. It didn't turn east, Kevin.
Really persistent spike too. I mean, that stuff has been aloft. So
we wanted plan A or B, turn east or die down. It didn't happen.
Yeah.
So Tulia, you're going to get hail. You're probably getting it right now.
Yep.
And could be golf ball to even tennis ball in there. Anything from Lubbock? Oh.
I will check them again. They had not.
Yeah, man, I hate to see that. Of all the spaces that hail could attract.
Yeah, Lubbock has reported still seeing potential for 2-inch hail moving into the city of Tulia shortly, which is now elevated supercell. That's what's causing the 3-body spike, right? Yeah. It's elevated, meaning that hail core is still aloft, but eventually it's going to come down. Will likely rewarn downstream before 12:30. It is now 12:20. So what they're saying is they're going to extend that warning to go to Claytonville. I wouldn't be surprised if that made it to Silverton as well.
And Lake McKenzie, we'll watch out there.
Yep.
Okay, hey, good news is, despite all this crazy weather tonight, no tornadoes. And really that threat looks to be very low now for the rest of this event. And, that stuff's moving pretty fast, so, give us an hour or so, we might have that down just almost out of our area. Kevin.
Yeah, I think that hail car is coming down right over Tulia because now we're getting some outflow.
Yep.
Peak in the winds. Let me do a little measurement there.
All right, Tulia, if you're, joining us because the alarms have gotten you up or you've heard the rain and hail, we're not tracking a tornado through Tulia. We do have what's probably going to be some damaging hail.
Yeah, I'd say easily gusts 45 to 50, maybe a little higher east of Tulia.
Okay. Good news is, it won't last too long, but, damage done literally by the time it moves out here in about 5 or 10 minutes. So Tulia, just hunker down. Just know it's not a tornadic storm, but now we're looking at Vigo Park, McKenzie, Silverton, and Claytonville to be in line to take what's the storm brings. Okay, back towards Nazareth, Dimmitt, just rain there, but let's check on Canyon. Yeah, Canyon, you still have more rain coming, just not as heavy. Street flooding going on there. Amarillo, we've just, moderate rainfall. That's about all we've had. There's a chance we get some more of these stragglers coming in from the west, and probably will, just not the real widespread stuff. The good part of tonight is this. Man, that's what we desire. Just good widespread, moderate to heavy soaking rain, but it's not severe. No hail in there. The wind is down, just lightning and rain.
Hey, Dave. You're going to go ahead and cancel the warning for Claude storm. As we have it, and still some hail and heavy rain.
Very good. Okay, so you saw that yellow box drop off. That's the Claude storm. Yep. So now we're down to 2 warnings. One is a flash flood warning for Canyon out to Paladura Canyon, and then we have our severe thunderstorm warning. That's this yellow box. Oh, that hail over Tulia. Man, we wish we could do something about that, Tulia. All we can do is track that. I bet we're getting some tennis balls in there.
Yeah, there's confirmation on the chat of hail, but no size report yet.
Oh,
if you want to come back to radar scope, I guess we can do a little geeking out as well. We're watching now, see the little fine light blue line? That's the gust front, the blast of wind, outflow boundary. But interestingly, what it's doing is this is cooler air behind it to the north of that line. Ahead of it is warm, humid, unstable air, and so that cooler air is undercutting and lifting the warm, humid, unstable air, and you can see some new cells developing. They don't look like much right now, and they're not, but those will likely continue to rise, those air parcels, and create new thunderstorms. So that's called an outflow boundary that is helping to generate some new storms.
It's kind of like a little cold front.
Yeah, exactly.
And air rides are kind of like a snowplow or kind of going uphill.
Yeah. Again, bad news for Tulia right now. That image that you're seeing shows that it is right over town, which means it has now just moved to the east of town. And so that's going to be a problem anywhere along either side of Highway 86, east of Tulia, heading towards Silverton. Either side of the highway, both north and south, the hail potential. The good news, I think, is we've lost, well, no, I'm on Lubbock, so I'm going to see if we've lost the hail spike, the three-body spike, in just a second. But that's going to be large hail in Tulia. We're waiting on a size report, which may or may not come.
I think we're going to hear about Canyon, Umbarger, and Tulia tomorrow morning.
Yeah, 100%, because look at the hail, the three-body spike right over Crest now, but that still says that there's some big hail up in that storm that is continuing to come out and probably about to dump.
Out Highway 86 and also out the farm to market to Lake McKenzie. We're going to get pummeled by that hail. It may have peaked, I don't know.
Yeah.
But, you know, golly, that's the real deal on hail.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to...
Okay, so that warning goes until 12:30, but like we said, it's probably going to, oh, there it goes. There's our new warning.
Did include Silverton, which we figured.
Silverton, that's a big warning box because it's moving so fast. Excuse me, Lake McKenzie, Claytonville. Really, McKenzie, I think if it holds that track, the hail will stay to your south. If you're at Claytonville, let me hold that to the north. Highway 86, right down the line there. That's our hail swath, I would say.
Okay, if you want to really geek out.
Okay. All right, Kevin.
This is a cross section of our hailstorm at Tulia. And what this is showing in the lower portion of your screen, the purple is hail that is near the ground. But as you go up and to the right, that's the hail core that we've been talking about that is making the three-body spike. So you see how there's, again, if you look toward the bottom of the screen where that sort of graph or grid meets the lower portion, that's the ground. So now you go up 20,000 feet and you've got that hail core with nothing but a little bit of red, yellow, and green below it. So that has still got to come down out of the storm. And that's why we say east of Tulia, we're going to see, let me do a little scanning of that. Yeah, east of Tulia on, what do we say, Highway 86. See some white in there too. That's going to just dump. That's, there's easily some tennis ball or larger baseballs in there that are just going to pound north and south of the Highway 86 east of Tulia now, thankfully.
Yeah, and that's where we have that warning box. It's out of Tulia. You guys are okay now. Hail is done. I imagine we had some damage, you know. Rooftops, cars, and windows, as we often see. Excuse me. It is raining pretty heavily up towards Wayside, but that's non-severe, just heavy rain. It's also raining pretty heavily back to Nazareth.
What about it? Oh.
So Tulia, you'll continue to get a lot of rain. That's also going to build down to Crest pretty rapidly. Right now, we're concerned about Highway 86 just east of Tulia. And I'll pull out just a little bit also. Take you back up to Amarillo where we've had just moderate rainfall. Canyon still moderate rainfall, but nothing like we had earlier. Little bitty stragglers back to the west, out towards Grady and Clovis, and we may see some of those get in here later tonight, but I don't think they'll produce severe weather. We're really down just to that one severe storm on our southern flank around Tulia. That squall heading to the east-southeast.
So now it's in that menu.
Cool, thank you.
That purple is the hail core that we've been tracking. Out of Tulia, still holding its own though.
Still the 3-body spike. That stuff's eventually got to come
Man.
down.
Yeah. So now we're looking at rural Swisher County to the east of Tulia. Probably peaked right over Tulia, but still formidable as it moves off to the east and still has that 3-body spike. Wayside getting all kinds of heavy rain. I have noticed when I've been out around the Wayside area driving around, it tends to pond pretty quickly. So water buildup on the farm to markets out that way. Vigo Park, same thing. Lake McKenzie about to get some of the rainfall. We just have to track that hail core. You might be coming your way. We were hoping it would weaken before it hit Tulia. It did not. Still has time to weaken, but just we don't know.
Hey, Dave.
Yes.
The Tulia gusted 81 miles an hour.
81?
81.
Wow.
Okay. Man, that's a blast. We probably had wind-blown hail rip across Tulia. That could do a lot of damage.
Yeah, for sure.
Get bouncing and wind-blown hail. We had a storm like that, Kevin, in 2004, and anything facing north was getting tennis ball hail one-hopping. So
Really?
hopping off the ground and coming up and breaking windows.
Wow.
We could have seen something like that here in Tulia tonight. Like I said, tomorrow morning, I'm sure the news is going to be pretty active for Canyon, Tulia, and Umbarger with quite a bit of hail damage. We need this to drop its intensity quickly. Otherwise, we're going to have to extend that out to McKenzie and Silverton. Maybe some good news on the trend, but it's still we still could be getting golf balls there east of Tulia.
Yeah, I'm trying to check the Mesonet site here. Hang on.
And while we do that, Claude, once again, good news there. That rain is now on I-40, and it'll be coming up towards Groom, but it's just it's non-severe. Wayside, you're just getting drenched right now. You'll get moderate rainfall behind. For Canyon and Amarillo, it's still raining just a little bit, but it's not too intense. It's weakened a little bit down at Friona, Dimmitt, and even around Hart, where we're getting some moderate rainfall. We're just down to one severe pocket, southern part of our area, off to the east and southeast of Tulia.
And the Tulia Mesonet site reporting 1/4 inch of rain, 0.24, which doesn't sound like a lot, but that was in an extremely short period of time.
Yeah.
And then combined with the hail, that means that hail's going to flow and pool up and puddle up in various spots, which will just sit there and take a while to melt away. So a stunning amount of rain in just a short period of time.
And
but yeah, here's the confirmation of the 81 mile an hour
wind
at 12:23.
Tulia, okay. So that's now east of Tulia, but that's what's going right down 86. Clayton to McKenzie. You know, any interests or any friends or family out that way, you need to notify them. It does look like we may have peaked on that storm for now.
Yeah, we're on the Lubbock side. Let me jump back to Amarillo and see if we still got the 3-body spike. Nope, still there.
Still there. Okay.
Yeah, that's an indication that it's still aloft. Now the wind core is coming down, which is good, because we had that 81 mile an hour gust. That was clearly right next to that hail, but that wind is definitely weakening, which is good news wind-wise for Silverton. Let's cut through that storm again if I can see that far with my bad eyes.
Okay, so.
Okay, so look now, this is interesting.
One more time, Kevin, just so people know what we've done. Kevin has sliced through the storm this way, and we're looking at it from the ground up.
Yep.
So we're looking at a nice 3D representation.
The nice part is you can see the hail core has come down.
That's good, yeah.
It was up closer to 30,000 feet. Now it is coming down. Now the peak height is closer to 20 to 25,000 feet, and it's a little bit smaller. But slicing through that now, if we come even further to the north of it on this slice, that still is putting down hail right now along 87. But at least fortunately, it appears to be coming down.
That looks better.
Which may signal the demise of that storm. Still that 3-body spike though.
So Tulia, you took it at its worst. And now you can see if it holds that track, we might keep that hail just south of Lake McKenzie. I don't know. It looks, yeah, probably just south. And pretty much like it's right down to Highway 86. Silverton, it is coming your way. Hopefully we'll continue a little trend there of decreasing hail size. Don't know, though. We'll have to wait. That's the strongest storm we have at the moment.
15 miles, 17 miles west of Silverton.
Okay, and that's the only severe pocket we have right now. Filling in back to the west with all that popcorn stuff, but moving fast and not severe. It's just getting out ahead of the storm. You know, there's Kittiquay and Turkey. We'll follow that trend. Probably gonna at least get some rainfall out of it, but you know, models had been indicating that once we get off to the east of I-27 that we should see decreasing trends. We did see that with our Palo Duro Canyon storm, our canyon storm that got up to Claude, and it did weaken. It has not been severe since, and we don't expect that.
And from our friends at the Weather Service, it looks like they're going to allow the watch to expire for their counties at 1 a.m.
1 a.m., okay. That's
So 25 minutes. But that's good news in that we're seeing that weakening trend, and that one cell is really the one problem now.
For sure.
And they could have extended it because originally the watch was until 11. They extended parts of it until 1 o'clock, but the fact that they're not going to extend it at this point is helpful.
That's helpful. It's helpful for our area. It's helpful for us. We're going to have a few days, I think, of being pretty busy tracking storms. It's peak storm season. Early June, this is no surprise. Okay, I think our hail has trended down a little bit. It has turned east a little bit. So McKenzie, any interest around Lake McKenzie need to stay alert, stay vigilant. By now, the word has gotten out, I'm sure, to folks that need to know.
I'm checking with the Storm Prediction Center as well. They have not issued what we call a mesoscale discussion since 11:45, so that was nearly an hour ago. They continue to persist on the watch, which of course will be canceled, but there's no indication from them that they're going to extend any kind of a watch further to the east.
Gotcha. Okay, looks like that heavy rain is coming up to 207 now, Highway 207. That's going to be, it's going to be a solid wash from Claude down through the Palo Duro Canyon, coming back up and around Vigo Park and Lake McKenzie. Still some hail in there. It's kind of taking an eastward jog, and it looks like it's coming to Lake McKenzie now, 10 minutes or so. Hopefully it does have time to trend down a little bit. But man, that's no guarantee. If you're at Silverton, same thing, it's aimed at you. And we can pretty well guarantee some rain and wind. Tulia, things have gotten, you don't have more hail coming in, but it's gonna rain for a while. Yeah, I'm afraid we had pretty damaging around there at Tulia, unfortunately. And you know, that's just kind of the luck of the draw in those hail cores. All that open space to work with, sometimes they'll just track right over town.
Let me do that again. My old eyes can't see across that far.
Yeah, you got it.
So definitely coming down.
Okay, Kevin's
Doing a cross section again.
doing a little analysis.
Bottom of the screen is the ground, and we kind of scan through that. There's still some hail aloft, so that's up to 25,000 feet, which is giving us our three-body spike.
Yeah.
So swing this way. Yeah, that's accounting for that three-body spike. Gotta think, what's holding it up is the updraft, and eventually that's gonna give up and the hail will take over and come down. And I think once we get that one core done, I bet we're done with that storm as far as the severe potential. Hopefully that will happen before Silverton.
This could be the last severe round of the night, but you know what the hail core that's still there, and it does look like the intensity's down, but that has turned east a little bit, and it's coming right at Lake McKenzie. So again, our campground areas have not done well tonight. Very heavy rain. Now, it's good for lake levels. We love to see this, but you don't want to get it with ice. You want to get it with liquid. Looks like Bushland is raining pretty good at this point, or at least there's a lot of rain on the lens. Let's take us back. And
Yeah, that one's harder to focus at night too.
flash flood warning continues there, Umbarger Canyon. It's still raining. There's our wide picture. I'm on the wrong. You guys aren't supposed to let me do that. Forgot to hit take. So there's our wide picture. Still a lot of rain in the north of I-40, but non-severe. If you look at the colored boxes, those are our warnings. So that does include Tulia, Briscoe, and Swisher counties. There's another representation. A lot of the counties have dropped off. The other counties in that watch will continue till 1 a.m. and expire. Here's downtown Amarillo raining lightly. And then I was talking about Bushland. Visibility down, at least looks like it is. Might have a little fog or stuff in there, I don't know. Okay, another recap.
Yeah, go wide again. That's interesting because the graph, if you look north of Tucumcari to the border, I bet if you loop that, that's a new development, and the graph had that for sure. So that's going to leave our rain chances clearly to at least 3 to 4 a.m. But there's some new stuff there. Now the chance that that would be severe is pretty small.
Yeah.
But just to make the point, all across the region, because that's even now south of 40 and north of Clovis, other rounds. But if some thunder wakes you up, the severe potential is pretty low overnight. So if, again, you wake up and you go, oh no, is it happening again? The likelihood of severe is pretty small.
Yeah. That's our only severe storm right there. It's the one that hammered Tulia with large hail and 80-mile-an-hour winds. It's kicking off to the east, and we still got that small but intense hail core approaching Lake McKenzie and still along and north of Highway 86.
Stunning three-body spike.
Heading off
the
east.
persistence of that is amazing.
Looks like it's maybe dwindling a little bit, that hail spike. So 207 now, really getting covered up with heavy rainfall, heading off to the east, and putting our friends in McKenzie and Silverton on standby for hail if it doesn't weaken pretty quickly. Also downstream there, you see Kittiquay getting on the screen. We'll see what's going on there once it arrives. Severe thunderstorm warning, Swisher and Briscoe counties at this time. Fortunately, we've not had tornadic activity, no tornadoes.
I'm going to get some water, otherwise I'm going to lose my voice.
Okay.
Oh, I got you, Kevin. Don't worry.
I got good things.
Kevin's going to hit the watering hole. I'll track along with you here. And this is just our continuous stream of info we do when we get into these first alert events, we call them. And by the way, we think the weather's going to stay active for the next several days. Not for everyone every day, but we've got a large area, and somewhere in our area is going to be active with thunderstorms. So tomorrow is the first alert day. Friday right now we have as the first alert day. So make sure you tune in tomorrow. Of course, today's activity is going to play a pivotal role in whether or not we get more severe weather tomorrow, because you're using a lot of energy up tonight. It'll come down to how fast this activity moves out of here. If we have time tomorrow to get sunshine and warm up again and reestablish our south winds, then we could be looking at another volatile day. Right now it's the areas along the south of I-40 getting most of the activity. And we've had damaging hailstorms, some big wind down to this one cluster here. Still getting in there close to McKenzie and heading towards Silverton, the Highway 86 area near the Swisher-Briscoe County line. That's the most active. Tulia is still getting rain. Might be fairly heavy, but no more hail coming at you at this point, it doesn't look like.
Inside of 15 miles from Silverton.
Okay. Still looks like it's the area from Lake McKenzie to Silverton is where that hail is tracking at the moment.
70 plus.
Still strong. Wow.
Well, I don't know what the record is for a persistent three-body spike, but this one is probably
It's holding its own, isn't it? Yeah. Bottom line is the hail potential is still pretty high there near Lake McKenzie and approaching Silverton. Severe thunderstorm warning there. 20K.
Yeah, it's just feeding on that moisture. It's just rise, 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 rise. And there's enough tipping, the wind shear is enough to keep that thing tipped over, tilted over, and keep that hail core redeveloping. You say it's hanging there, but it's really just kind of redeveloping.
Yeah. Noticing rain getting up to Groom now and Goodnight on I-40. Still below severe intensity there. Claude catching some pretty good rainfall. Moving east, and you know, we got one thing to at least mention is the desperate need for rain and runoff up there at Clarendon and Lake Greenbelt. So hopefully we get some benefit out of that.
I would argue that our three-body spike has now increased.
Look at that.
The DBZs are up there, but the good news is that it now is running a little bit north of due east, which will help Silverton.
It'll help Silverton, however, it's not good for McKenzie. Looks like it's going to affect Lake McKenzie and the camping area there. So
Yeah, it'd be over it right now.
yeah, pretty much coming in. Rain will quickly turn to hail at Lake McKenzie. It's a small area, you know, small area, but intense.
Yep.
All right, I'll peel back out. We'll look at the rest of the area real quickly. Still got that beautiful soaker up around Groover, Spearman, Guyman, Perryton, Canadian. Got this new development of fast-moving, you know, what we call elevated storms there, Kevin.
I know, I'm fascinated by those. It's almost like there's two little waves there.
Yeah.
Which again, the graph had, keeping that rain chance late night,
Yeah.
overnight.
For just about anybody.
Yeah, there was clearly a double-barreled, what we call a shortwave there.
Dimmitt catching about your third storm of the night. Mainly heavy rain and lightning. Let's remember we got that green box, that rectangle there. That's flash flood warning. Still have rain in that area with maybe some more of that redevelopment coming your way too. So Canyon to Umbarger, those places really have to watch out for the ponding of the water.
We're inside of 15 minutes away from the expiration of the watch, the severe thunderstorm watch, that had originally been in effect until 11 o'clock, but the Weather Service in Amarillo has said that they will expire that at 1 o'clock. May continue, though, for...
Yeah, we still got Briscoe County there with the storm moving through. I imagine, you know, it'd be hard not to hold on to that with the severe storm moving into it. If it is still severe then, you know, things happen fast. I mean, those hail cores, they drop rapidly. We've seen that a lot, you know, storm will look a lot different 5 minutes from now, or it can.
Yeah, this one has probably put down a persistent trail. This would have been a storm for, if we're going to geek out, if you were here at 6 o'clock, I had an Under the Weather segment. I was lucky enough to be invited to be embedded on Memorial Day weekend with a hail research team that is on a 6-week program, and they're actually parked in Amarillo tonight. But I know they would have been interested in being on this particular cell because of the persistent hail.
Yeah.
And their mission is to try and get out in front of, literally right in front of, a hail core with a whole suite of instruments that will measure hail as it comes down and hits the ground. They want these instruments to be hit They have something called hail pads, which is just a foam core that they want to measure the indentations made by, and the size and the depth by hail hitting the ground.
It's kind of like a memory foam.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So-
They have things called distrometers, which measure the hail speed and the impact force, and then they go out and pick them up. And the preparation for that was the subject of Under the Weather, which is now on the website tonight. And then I think next week, probably on
Can't hear you,
Wednesday,
Kevin.
we'll have. Oh,
I'm going to change my battery too.
yeah. Muted. I will grab you that. I'm back on. I'm talking about my Under the Weather segment that ran tonight with the hail research team called Ice Chip. And if you want to see the preparation for them putting down instruments in front of a hail core, that was the episode that ran tonight and is on the website now. Next Wednesday, we'll further show the setup, and then we'll show in the following episode what they do to go back and collect it. And we found a 6-inch hailstone, Dave.
Yeah.
I say we, they. I was with them.
You saw it.
But I did see it, and there's video evidence of it, of a 6-inch hailstone, which was just massive, an amalgamation of several other hailstones. Then the really fascinating thing, which again we'll see in the third episode, oh, now we've dropped the hail core a little bit, so that's good news there. The fascinating thing was they got a number of hailstones, and some percentage of them, they almost immediately, we drove back, this is around Roaring Springs, we drove back to Matador, and in the parking lot of a gas station there, we took some of those hailstones, measured them, weighed them, and then they have what is basically, you know, these vice grip clamps that you might use for woodworking that you would buy at Lowe's or Home Depot. They've modified that to be a hail crushing tool. And they put it in the jaws of that thing and they squeeze it, and it breaks the hailstone, and that measures the force it takes to break it.
So check
and
the
that
density.
gives them a density reading, because different hailstones are of different density. And all of this research is going on to try and capture as best they can the environment of a hail producing thunderstorm, so that we can better forecast them and also tune the radars to better report what is coming out of them. So really cool. So tonight's Under the Weather, I guess now it's after midnight, and last night's Under the Weather has that information in it. So the 3-body spike, if you go back to radar scopes, coming down a little bit, but we've had what we've seen many, many times is this tiny little suggestion of some rotation would be embedded right near the hail core. I don't think it's a tornado, but it is obviously something to watch. But it has teased us all night.
That's the 3-body. Getting a little, you know, it's not as pronounced now. That's good. But looking at our rotation there, right there.
Right in there.
Same place as the hail. But yeah, it does not look tornadic. It looks kind of broad.
Going to go north of Silverton. Good
Yeah,
news.
but McKenzie's getting the hail. So let's see. Lake McKenzie getting the hail. We were hoping it would stay between there and 86, but turned east a little bit.
I'll do another cross section and see.
Okay.
The
Has trended down a little
yeah,
bit.
the DBZs have come down, which is evident on the cross section. Let's scan through it. Oh yeah,
Let's see.
you can. Well, there's still some aloft, but then look, it's coming down.
There it goes.
That's where it's falling.
Toom.
So if we can avoid a new updraft
Yep.
and the persistent redevelopment of hail, that would be a good thing to
Would be
have.
ideal.
Still up there though. You think about these hailstones, they are falling from 25,000 feet in the atmosphere. And
think about
wind
that.
blown.
Think about that 6-inch stone.
Yeah.
Think about the, you know, it's like a cannonball coming down.
Yeah.
This thing's coming out of the, way out of the sky.
Yeah, the number I have always used, and you can tell me if you have a better one, is that to keep a quarter-size hailstone aloft, the wind has to blow up at 70 miles an hour.
Now think about that. Wind's blowing straight up. I mean, going up in the atmosphere, 70 miles an hour. And probably much stronger to get, well, you know, hail's really interesting because it does like a trip through different environments. That's why a rotating updraft can hold a hailstone up for so long. Okay, I'm just kind of zooming out a little bit at that one little severe pocket. Claude, you're getting into some good rain now, but non-severe.
Okay, here's an update right now from Lubbock. Latest radar trends show the core, talking about our storm near Silverton, the core shrinking in diameter and in height. So they're going to bring the hail and wind down to 1.5 inches, but still the potential for 70-mile-an-hour straight line winds, respectively.
Okay.
So that is good. It's still potent,
Yeah.
but the trend, we always watch the trend, is okay, and that's what our three-body spike, or lack thereof, is telling us. Now, can it cycle around? That first one that's now died near Claude has done that, and this one's could demonstrate the same behavior, but our hope is that we would continue this downward trend. So that's
Yeah.
from the Weather Service in Lubbock.
Okay. By the way, Silverton, good news. Looks like that pocket of hail is going to be right over Lake McKenzie and move east and stay north of Silverton. So I think folks at Silverton, yeah, I think you're going to get by here without hail.
And an update from our friends at the Weather Service office in Amarillo. They are planning to allow all of the flood products to fall off at their
good.
respective expiration times.
All right, good.
So those are those green boxes that we have seen, but the flooding threat is now diminishing.
So what I think we're going to
Thankfully.
do here, Kevin, is we're going to watch this last hail, hopefully last hail core,
Yeah.
get it past Silverton.
Yep.
And by then, our watch will have expired. And if we don't have redevelopment, we'll probably close up shop here and get ready to go again tomorrow.
Or not.
Yeah, we'll be ready if it happens. Okay, so there's the trim on the warning box.
And the flood that they were talking about, let's see, flood warning, that included Canyon, south of Amarillo, westward to north of Hereford. That one was supposed to go until 2:15. Their plan is to let that expire, according to them, at that time. It doesn't look like they want to cancel it, but the flooding threat will decrease.
Good. Okay, so we're kind of focused in on the only severe storm we have. It's the one that has just hailed on Lake McKenzie, surrounding areas. It's building off to the east, and so our next community or next point of interest there is going to be Silverton. Looks like most of that hail is staying to your north. A little southward build on the heavier reflectivity, but I don't know if we'll get hail into Silverton. Close call. Another image or two here, another update or two, we'll know more about that. I think overall that trend is looking better, as confirmed by the National Weather Service that Kevin just read us.
Yeah, and Silverton's still under the watch, which is set to expire in 3 minutes, the severe
Okay.
thunderstorm watch.
Okay.
So Memphis, Clarendon, you were not included in the watch, so you still have thunderstorms, but never,
Right.
never the threat, well, no, the large threat of severe weather.
Yep. What you got, Gabe? No, I think I've had enough. Thank you, though. Okay, let's see. Here's the. Okay. Latest image there, east of McKenzie, north of Silverton. I'm going to say, Kevin, we're probably down to quarters there. Quarter size hail now, just
Yep.
northwest of Silverton.
Yeah, not any roads there. That's out north of town, out in open country. It's not going to get any reports on that, obviously.
Core is shrinking. That's what it's saying.
Yep, we got that.
Core
Thank
is
you.
shrinking. This is good news.
Official note from the Amarillo bot, Weather Service bot, expiring the watch.
Okay.
So Potter, Randall, Armstrong, Oldham, Deaf Smith counties no longer in the watch.
All right, let me. Okay, so this is what we have had for the severe thunderstorm watch. And really, I think the severe threat is done for all counties except Briscoe. So that's. I've gotten really good with my left hand, guys. Here's Briscoe County right there. That's where we have the severe warning. And I think that's really the only county in play right now for any additional severe weather. And there it is on radar, looking better. And then a close-up look. That one little hail pocket that we need to get on down, preferably not hitting Silverton.
Yeah. Having watched these all night, I'm afeared this one's going to cycle up again.
Yeah, I don't know. It's certainly could. It's getting out into that
It
environment.
came down, but now it's leveled off.
Yeah. And
that may be another spike trying to develop.
yeah. Once again, reiterating no tornadic activity. And pretty fast moving stuff here. Yeah, looking a little better for Silverton. I think the hail is going to stay to your north. A little worried a few moments ago. And size coming down to about quarter size.
Yeah, I've just switched over to the Lubbock radar.
Okay, there's the alpha. That's a good trend. Also, if you're Kittiquay, Turkey, good track on that severe area. Looks like that'll cruise to your north. So Bryce, Memphis, we'll be watching that. But I really think we'll be sub-severe by then. Okay. Yeah, good. This last image shows a little turn to the east. Silverton's still going to get on some of the rain and maybe some of the wind.
Yeah, that worries me in that I think we're seeing a new updraft because
Could
that's
be.
the outflow
Yeah.
and where it meets and there's a notch,
Yep.
not rotating, but that's a new updraft. So we might get a new hail core to develop. Might play with this.
So we'll keep an eye on that, but hopefully it gets off to the east of Silverton before it ramps up if it's going to do so. There you, oops, wrong one. What are you on? Oh, you've got it over here. That's a drag there if I want to get it on.
What would you like? Oh,
If
yeah.
you want to show that.
Oh, I'll do another cross section here. Okay, here it comes. Scan through that. Yeah, I'm a little afeared that that's going to be a new updraft.
Okay, the only severe warning we have is right here.
That goes until 1:30 at this point.
Hail has moved east of Lake McKenzie. Looks like it's staying kind of north of Silverton. Zoom in out a little bit.
Did you get this already, Kevin and Dave?
What's that?
Say again?
Did you guys get this? The decent updraft has entered the western depth Smith. Most likely has some half-inch hail with it, depending on the amount of melting very small core.
Thanks. That's going to be.
These are those new storms developing that we
guys
don't
here.
expect to be severe, but as we said, there's still some potential. Let me get back to Amarillo. some small hail potential will be persistent or available through the overnight period. Oh, come on.
Okay, there's
Finger's not working anymore.
there's our latest. So we have a little break in that hail core.
There's the one Gabe's mentioning,
Yeah.
south of 40.
Yep.
But that atmosphere's got to be pretty raked over.
Right. Okay, friends in Silverton. Gonna catch the tail end of that rain. Looks like the hail is staying to your north, and I still got it about nickel to quarter size here. So once we get beyond Silverton, it'll take a while before we approach any other communities, and hopefully we're going to trend on down. I mentioned the need for rain up at Greenbelt. Looks like rain is starting to form in that area with a pretty good squall coming your way. Just to remind folks, we think we're going to be active for a few days off and on, because each day is going to be a little different. But definitely going to be worth staying tuned and tracking along with us. A little bow in that hail core.
Yeah, I think that's going to be new updraft. In fact, it is.
Yeah. How robust it is, we'll have to wait and see.
Yep, it's building south towards Silverton. So not big hail for Silverton, but definitely some potential.
Yeah, let's kick this thing on off to the east. Get it out of here. Once again, Kittiquay, Turkey, if you're tracking along, I think that hail from this storm anyway is going to stay to your north. And for Bryce and Memphis, we think the environment's a little less conducive for severe once it gets out to your location.
Might have an update from Lubbock coming. Someone is typing.
Still going to get pretty breezy, I think, around Silverton. But no tornadoes. No tornado out there. All right, Tulia, after your damaging hailstorm, you got another cell coming at you from Nazareth there, but it's not as intense, so it's going to continue to pump water your way, lightning, but that doesn't appear to have the hail in it. Yeah, it's all about this guy now. Silverton, oh man, you're dodging a bullet there, looks like, with hail staying to your north, and I think we got a downtrend there.
This is Lubbock here on radar scope.
Okay.
Check for a 3-body. Nope.
Yep, he just finished typing. They're expecting the severe storm northwest of Silverton to continue weakening.
Okay. Continue weakening.
Yeah,
All
it
right.
says outruns the stronger instability. We allowed the severe watch, they allowed their watch to expire at 1. So they're expecting that to trend down because it's hitting a little bit more stable environment, which is why there was no watch further to the east. So the hope is that it moves closer to the eastern parts of Briscoe County, that it will hit stable air and come down. But right now it's maintaining itself for sure.
You
on
know,
that hail core.
it is hail,
Oh,
but
that's
it looks like it's
Amarillo.
gonna
Let me go back to Lubbock.
it's gonna stay north of Silverton, which is
Yep.
good. And like I said, downward trend. Okay, good. All right. It's my opinion, Kevin, that now that the watch is gone and our last storm is weakening and we got corroboration on that, that we kind of end our continuous broadcast. What do you think?
I am in favor.
Okay. Well, thank you folks for tracking along with us, and just keep in mind that almost anywhere in our area it's still going to thunder and lightning and rain tonight, but it looks like we're going to have everything below severe intensity. So we're going to wrap up our continuous feed.
Thanks to Gabe.
Yeah, Gabe, get in here, man. Gabe, our techie here tonight, helping us out, doing a great job. The coffee was great. Tell you what, we will see you guys next time the weather ramps up as early as tomorrow. Thanks for tracking along with us.
Good night.